This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Well, let me do that again. I like the sound when it kicks right in. Hold on a second. There we go. Hold on. There we go. All right. Yeah. Hey, look at I'm back home. Yes. It was pretty cool hanging out with you guys last night in the hotel, different forum and everything. Thank you, Lori Grant, Claudia Dubauer, and Courtney Robb, who slowed their roll. Yeah, everybody. New Pixel Proof came out. What does that even mean? We got one of those crazy Pixel people. Oh, I see. Wow, I got to tell you guys, the Blazer game though tonight was ridiculous. Listen to this. We are up by 24 points. And then literally within about 6 minutes, or 7 minutes, we're down 5. I mean, it was just the most ludicrously horrible few minutes. And then Lillard came to life, and then in the next 3 minutes, we won by 11. I mean, it's like, I don't think I've ever seen a wilder swing in my entire life. It's just 24, up 24, down 5, then up 11. In like no time at all. Yeah, I was thinking of covering, hey, believe it or not, Cairo, you missed it, but there was a person in the chat named Anna Darko. Can you believe that? There was somebody in here named Anna Darko. It's unbelievable. So, I was able to watch both the episodes of the Down the Hill on CNN, and you know, basically it was a 2-hour show with a few new things in it, but they're interesting things. Yeah, Anadarko, right? I mean, it's pretty crazy. As in Anadarko oil.
Are you gonna cover Chris Watts tonight?
Yeah, just after I cover Anadarko oil and their involvement in all these cases. Wait, did you hear that? Grace said, let's look into Anadarko. Oh my God, do you see one of those employees that works at Anadarko Oil? He's got a goatee. He's got a hat that looks like, you know, that's what happens. You mean you saw it, Ultimate Ninja? Let's see. I'll wait for a little bit till people get in here. But anyways, the numbers are up on the screen there where you can talk about what you thought about it. But I would say from the first episode, one of the things that I want to bring up is I think it's really shameful when, you know, these sleuths out there, or, you know, soccer moms that think they're better than everybody else. And it doesn't mean that all soccer moms, I'm talking about the ones that think they're better than everybody else. The holier than thou types, they always say stuff like, man, I would never have left my kids off there. Why were they allowed to be left off at the bridge? Do you know how ludicrous you sound when you make those kind of comments? You sound absolutely like a ridiculous person, okay? What does that have to do with anything, okay? It has nothing to do with anything. You're only doing it to try to make it seem like you are so much more superior than other people. Okay, I think that they were let off there because that's what people do. You know, Becky even said, you know what, I'd rather have them playing around, hanging out at a park, getting exercise than playing video games. And of course, all those holier-than-thou moms out there are the exact same ones that keep their kids strapped to a chair playing Call of Duty 24/7 because they can't leave the house, all right? So how about quit your... It's just so shameful listening. Whenever I see it, I just want to block the person from the channel. I hate it. I don't care. Nobody cares how you would have been with your kid at that bridge. There isn't a soul out there that cares. And not only that, it's irrelevant to anything regarding the case. All right? Does everybody agree? Does anybody understand what I'm saying? I don't care if you agree. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's so obvious. So I remember that part in there, and I was like, hey, good for her. You know, I've defended that 1,000 times on here. So good for her. I'm glad Becky said that. Let's see. But probably the main thing of the first... Oh, where's Blue? Hey, Blue. Come here, Blue. Chloe, come here, Blue. They're just not on their bed. Come on, Chloe. There's Chloe. She jumped up there. Maybe Blue will join her in a little bit. I don't know. I'm not going to, Craig. You know what you should do is look in the... take your photograph and put it side by side. You should try doing that. It's interesting. Yeah. When I was young, we got off of... out of school. We came home, we got on our bikes, and we rode like hellions all over the place. And then we just had to be home by dinner time or something. Then after dinner, we get back on those same bikes, and we go all the way out there. It's just sad that today people can't do that. And even back then, it probably... You know, here's the thing. It's safe to do that, okay? It really is safe to do that. But every once in a while, a psycho turns up and hurts somebody and kills somebody. And... then everybody goes, oh my God, why are they letting... Look there was 1,000 other kids that played and they were safe, okay? But the one barbaric act freaks everybody out and it ruins communities. Like, for example, Delphi now, everybody locks their doors. Everybody's, you know, helicopter moms, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it sucks. It sucks for kids today that basically parents would rather have them playing video games than playing outside. Yeah. Yeah, hitchhiking's never been good. But, you know, listen, the percentage of people who hitchhike that didn't get killed is like 99%. 99.9%. It's huge. It's just, that is a preferred method by a lot of serial killers to pick up somebody hitchhiking, and then now they're at their control. And after people quit hitchhiking, those same serial killers moved on to sex workers because they are also individuals who will then go get into your car without knowing you at all, just like a hitchhiker. So they became the victims of serial killers much more often after that. Yeah. Well, I try to do true talk here, Irish Spirit Eyes. Some people don't like it because they look in the mirror and they realize that they're one of those people that says that stuff all the time, and then therefore I'm bullying them instead of just saying, God, you know what, you're right. Why am I challenging Becky at all about why they were let to go play there that day? I'm a loser for even doing that. That's what they should be saying, okay? And then change the way they act, because that is so... it's... Oh, man. Like I said before, absolutely meaningless to the case. Has absolutely nothing to do with anything at all related to it. Basically, what you're trying to do is make a case like, hey, had she not let them go, they'd be alive. That's what you're trying to say. Because you're a better mom than they are. You wouldn't have let them go. Well, they were having a great time on that bridge. They were literally having a great time until the monster showed up. Okay, you can see that they were having fun, taking pictures. Abby was just kind of, trying to get across the bridge, having a good time. And then a monster destroyed all of that. And many kids have been there. for years and years and years and years, and not one of them had been murdered until that moment. Okay? So look in the mirror next time you try to bash a parent or somebody for doing something. Yeah, if I had $1, we cover tons of cases on here of all kinds. I mean, literally really old, cold cases, current cases, all that stuff. And it just, you see these patterns where a parent, they were going to give their kid a ride to the mall, but they had something to do, so they said, I'll go ahead and walk. And on that one walk, they got killed. Okay, well, did their mom really do something that bad by not giving them a ride? Is it really their fault? No, it's not. Because they didn't always give a ride. She was just going to that time, but then didn't because she had something she needed to be doing. Right. All right, so then other than that, I don't have the bots. I'll turn it on. Hold on. Yep, there goes my stomach. God, I got to tell you guys, by the way, that hotel that I was in last night, the bed wasn't really even that comfortable, and Blue barked at people in the hallway a lot. And then I put him in the bed with me, and I snuggled him in there, and he kept twitching. He kept twitching, and then every once in a while he'd go, ah, because he heard somebody in the hallway. And it was just, oh, man. So basically what I did today was I bought myself, we got ourselves a new bed. Because the bed that we have here was kind of old. It's one of those Casper beds, and I'm hoping to get one that actually, when I go to sleep, I can sleep for a while. It'd be awesome. Oh yeah, Blue was the terror. Just absolutely. God. He thinks he owns the hotel as soon as he gets in it. Yeah. And then this really great patron of the hotel let their pit bull just run without a leash around. It was awesome. Man, it was really excited to see that. Yep. Yeah, they were just going to go on a happy nature ride. Now the part of the episode that was really the only thing that was really new at all was the 2:30 a.m. Toby Lesenby calls. Let's see, what's his name? Daryl Sterrett at the fire station, and says, "Hey, we just got a ping out by the bridge. Can you guys go back out there?" And when they went out there, they found nothing. Yep. But I don't think the ping has anything to, in my opinion, has nothing to do with the suspect at all. I think the ping, though, opens up a conversation that's mildly interesting. If you think about the fact that at 2:30 the phone pinged, and that means the phone was probably really low on juice, and it just kind of was very intermittently, I mean almost hardly any connectivity at all to a cell tower. But and then it connected for just a short time at 2:30, right? So that part's interesting, but you might think like, okay, so the killer is out there. He was there up until at least 3:30, probably 3:45. And then what if? See, this is the stuff that Layla was talking about yesterday. What if the killer was part of the search party originally? This is a total, that's why I don't like doing these, because it's like, what if? But you might think like, okay, the killer was with the search parties originally, the first ones. And then let's say he leaves at a certain time, or he's still out there, but then all of a sudden that one photo surfaces of the image of Abby on the bridge. At that moment, the killer is aware that there was a phone that those girls had, but he didn't remember seeing a phone. You know, because he threw the clothes, you know, into the creek. Let's see. There was a shoe over there, and he saw what Abby was wearing, all that kind of stuff. So the thing is he would have, if he was made aware that that image exists, he then would want to go back out there maybe when nobody else was around and try to find that phone, because now he knows that those girls had a phone with them, but he doesn't know at that point that he's on the video, but he might be suspicious of it. So maybe he went back out there or something like that with the other search crews, and he obviously never found it with them because the phone was found on the ground somewhere out near where the girls were found. So it's sort of an interesting thought that maybe he was back out there. I just don't think the ping has anything to do with it, because then you have to start getting into the really wild speculation that somehow he was walking near it and kicked it loose from under a log, and somehow at that point it was able to contact the cell tower, and then as he was leaving, he hit that same log again, and then it covered the same. See, that part I think has nothing to do with it. It's just an interesting thing that the phone was pinging out there. And, you know, whether he was aware that it pinged or not, I don't know, but he could have very well been aware, because I've been following this case since they were missing, if you can believe that. I mean, I just happened to be on Facebook, and they were saying, hey, these girls are missing, and then we even saw the Snapchat photo that first night, if my memory is correct. But that Snapchat photo, I think, was placed on social media showing that they were on that bridge that first night. I don't even know what you're talking about, Teresa. You seem like one of those psychos that I have no idea what you're typing in. You're gonna have to go fix it. Just type a full sentence that makes sense. That'd be great. Yeah, well, you know, the HLN episode, what it really was just a very long, drawn out version of the podcast. I don't know if any of you guys listened to the one that Jess Betancourt, myself, and Morph created. It was you know, an actual legitimate podcast, not sort of like when people go, oh, I made a podcast. You know, this is a real one. It was Scene of the Crime, Delphi, on Apple, all those locations, and it was really, if you want to have all the information about a case, if you listen to that, you won't be confused anymore. But it basically went through the entire case in chronological order. Okay, now the Scene of the Crime podcast was sort of more, you know, trying to bring up some interesting information, not really a timeline. I mean, we're Scene of the Crime. I meant, hold on. Mine was Scene of the Crime. What was the other? Theirs is called Down the Hill, excuse me. Theirs is called Down the Hill. What sketch do I agree with more? Probably the second one. And when I say second one, I mean the second one created, or which is also the first one released to the people. To me, it just looks more like how the picture looks. Man, you guys like really want that bot going. Here, I'll have to open it up. Yeah, why do you feel like that way, Gene? Just because you want to, or there's no evidence at all that there was two people involved. Zero. So that's the thing, is when people say, oh, I think this, there's no evidence. And what you want is, hey, what you want is people to have a reason for it that actually makes sense. But you can't invent the reason. That's the thing. There is zero evidence that there were two people there. Zero. So if you believe that there's two people, that means it's just something you want to believe, and you're looking for ways to make that a truth. Yeah, I think it was probably, they think it's his, I think. That's why they want to know the driver of it. Why else do you think they would want to know if it was his? Hey, thanks, Irish Spirit Eyes. Yeah, but anyways, the phone number up on the top works. So if you want to call in and talk about what you thought about the HLN special. The second show, probably the biggest takeaways were the, basically admitting that there was DNA and fingerprints, and also another corroboration of the signatures.
Great. You've been there from the start, that is for sure. Thank you for your tireless work, G.
What's "le" mean, Bobby? What's "le" mean? All right, here we go. All right, 281, you're on there. You have to unmute yourself and turn down the audio from the show if you're watching on YouTube. Hello? Yeah, who's this? Your name is Slate?
Yes.
What's going on?
I got a quick question about the phone pinging. I have read several times, and I might have even saw it on a couple of your videos, that Libby's father was trying to call her phone earlier that day when he got out there, and it started going straight to voicemail at a certain time. And my question is, why did it start pinging in the middle of the night at 2:30 in the morning if it was already going to voicemail and probably had already either been turned off or had lost charge?
Well, let's just say the phone was kind of in a really precarious situation down a hill, because that's where it is. It's a really slopey area right next to the... As a matter of fact, if I was going to go show it on my screen right here, there's a cell phone tower right there. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but there's an actual cell... You know what I'll do? Let me... can you see the Zoom session? Because what I can do is...
No, I can't. I actually had to call in.
And you called in.
Would not allow me to... Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I called in. So.
Right. So there's a cell tower not far from the property, actually. As a matter of fact, from the crime scene location, I'll tell you how far it is. It is not even... it's only 0.42 miles, a cell tower. So well within the 3-mile distance. But it's also... where the crime scene is way down a steep embankment. So you could see that it might struggle getting a signal at times. Probably was so faint, and then would just sort of... So when you tried calling the phone, it went straight to voicemail.
Got you.
It wasn't...
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's just kind of what I think. And then it just sort of had this moment where it did connect, but it was really low on power at that point, and maybe just had one ping, and that was it. But yeah, it's a good, that's something interesting to actually know for sure what the reasonings might be. But I just don't think it was somebody... There would be no reason for the killer to have left the phone there if he showed up again to get it.
I agree. I had another question for you. I read on some comments on a website that has nothing to do with you, but they had mentioned that you had mentioned that, or were a part of an interview with a woman that was on the trails that day with a dog that actually described running into the bridge guy, or someone that looked like the bridge guy. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because I've never seen you talk about it.
Yeah, that's because I wasn't somebody. Yeah, that's not true. I've never had an interview with the...
Okay.
But I've heard that the lady that... She says she never said that. Yeah, and I think that's like Kay Weber in my, I believe, unless it's somebody else. But I know that was somebody. Does anybody? I do not know who this girl is that was walking a dog that says that. There's only one person out there that says that over and over again, and I've never even heard of it other than that. So I'd like to see it in a newspaper article, or have law enforcement say it, or that person themselves let me know. That'd be interesting.
Okay. I read a comment, I think, on Reddit, and who knows what's being said on Reddit by who, So
yeah.
So
that's right.
That's why I wanted to ask you about it, to see if there was any validity to it. I just, in one of your other videos, a caller had called in and had mentioned that Monday was just an odd day, and I don't think that he knew they were going to be out there or anything, but I have to think that he either grew up there to know that area, especially the landscape where things ended up happening, and it just seems to me like to be so worried about people crossing that bridge for the first time, maybe someone would be less worried about that than someone being at that cemetery, is the only thing that I would think. But I don't know. I don't know the landscape like you. I've never been there.
Well, I've never been. Well, I've actually never been there either. I just had people go out and videotape everything. I know it so well, though. I mean, everything is always different when you're there. But I could go there right now and make it to every single spot that's on here, because I've seen it for 4 years and often. And at first, it was months of looking at the same stuff over and over again. So
yeah.
I was trying to. I didn't really understand what you were saying exactly about the cemetery. Maybe you can explain that again, like somebody walking.
Well, it seems to me like he had this planned out. I don't think this was a spontaneous thing. I think it was, as far as who they were, but I think he had it planned out that day to get a victim there. Okay, but the way that I look at it is, if you're going to carry out something that risky, you want to do it in a familiar area. And he told them down the hill, like he knew where he was going, like he had already been there. Maybe he had been there previously from growing up there or living there. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm just, I see your points about him following them across the bridge, but I just think that he might have came up through that cemetery. I'm not saying I'm convinced of it, but I'm just thinking that could have happened. And for whatever the reason, when they got toward the end of the bridge is when they actually finally saw him come out of the woods. He walked about maybe a quarter of a way across, and then he turned around, and that's when he kind of ambushed them.
I totally don't. I for me, there's no evidence of that at all. As a matter of fact, all the eyewitnesses have seen him on the trail here, and then his car is parked over at the abandoned CPS building.
Now, that's where my real question is: which eyewitnesses had seen him on the trail? That's what I'm missing. That's the part.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't know like their names and everything, but I heard that one of them saw them by this bench that's further down the trail here, past the parking spot. The thing is it, if you parked here at the cemetery, you go back up to the cemetery and you just take off. But then they're curious about the abandoned CPS building having a vehicle next to it that they think that he probably drove. That's why they want to know who the driver of the vehicle. I don't think they would be wanting to know who the driver of the vehicle was if they didn't think it was him, because there's a lot of people. At various times, like there's a woman named Cheyenne and a couple other people that were literally on the bridge during part of the time that the suspect was with the girls. That's what's absolutely crazy. But they got there a little like right around 3 or later, and he'd already taken them to where they were found, probably around 2:30, I would say. So it wasn't like they were going to run into each other. But he could definitely hear them if they were up on that bridge talking and chatting. It probably made him a little nervous, I would imagine.
Something else I find really bizarre about this whole situation, and why I started following it with your videos and everything, is this perpetrator had such a tight time frame from the time that Libby's father showed up there, along with a lot of the other people that were in the area that you've just talked about, it's almost mind blowing. It's like, man, I mean, from the time of their last photograph, which was I think 2:15 or something like that, whatever it was on Snapchat, he had very little time to do this, and I don't know. It just seems like it's a really tight time frame to me.
Well, it's weird. I think he got really fortunate at some point too. Like, he got out of there just before all of the searching started happening around 4. I think he was out of there between 3:30 and probably 3:45 is when I think he left the area.
But I saw on one of your videos though that Libby's father took a back trail to the other end of the bridge. Did I understand that correctly? Like he kind of went under the bridge to where they weren't necessarily found, but that same area. So
yeah.
Libby's father
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Right when he got there.
Well, no, it wasn't the same area. It was on. There's a start of the bridge. There's a 501 and a 505 trail. 501 goes right towards the bridge. You can cross it. But up there's also a 505 trail at that same drop-off point where they were dropped off, where Kelsey dropped them off. You walk about, I don't know, let me measure this so I can just say it so I don't guess. It is 82 yards. You walk 82 yards from where you were parked, and then right there you can choose to go to 501 or 505. And after he talked to, I think right at that junction, he talked to the flannel shirt guy, who's an older man. He's nowhere near the age range that police have given. But amazingly, a lot of people keep talking about how he's the guy. All right, he's not even close. He's like in his, I don't know if it's 60s or 70s, but he's really old. I mean, comparatively, that's not that old, everybody. I'm sorry if you're one of those people that's 60 or 70. But anyways, he went down after he talked to the flannel shirt guy. The flannel shirt guy said, yeah, there was a couple underneath the bridge down there. But see, again, that's at 3:15, and there was Cheyenne and 2 of her friends were at the bridge, so maybe that was those 2 friends. I don't really know. But this is literally 40 minutes after this whole thing went down. Okay, so then instead of going to the 501 trail to the foot of the bridge, Derrick decided to take the 505 trail, thinking, well, if they're not there, maybe they went down that trail, because nobody had the images yet of Snapchat, right? So he goes down 505 trail, doesn't find anything, then he walks back up to this area, and then he I think he got back up here about 3:30, called Becky, I believe this is the right order, then he walked all the way to the Freedom Bridge and back, and he didn't see anything. I mean, it's unbelievable, because I think, you know what I think? I think the time that he walked down, maybe down to the 505 trail, that might be when the suspect maybe popped back onto the trail at some point, walked to the Freedom Bridge, and then went to the CPS building to get in his car.
Something else I find amazing, Gray, is that considering you've named some other people that were kind of near the bridge but weren't on it, but how can they not hear any screaming?
Well, because maybe there wasn't any. Well, see, but what if there wasn't any, right?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is I think if they'd heard screaming, they would have mentioned something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be.
Let's just say they were running away, which I think they tried to do, or he was in the act of doing whatever he did to them. I would imagine they would have been some screams, and I just find it. I don't know. Maybe I don't have a good gauge of the distance out there, and it is the woods and whatever. But I just find that the time frame to be really tight. And I find it amazing that nobody heard anything. I mean, not seen anything. I don't know the landscape, but and you've described it well with your Google Earth stuff. But I just find it amazing that there were actually people out there when this happened and nobody heard anything. But
yeah, well, they were there. Like, well, here's the thing: they might not even have been alive when they got there. See, that's one of the things people don't bring up. But the Abby and Libby were probably taken off the end of the bridge, I would guess, between, you could actually go as far up as maybe even 2:15 to 2:30
Okay.
to 2:30, let's say. Let's just even extend it out to 2:40, and then it takes them maybe 10 minutes to get them to walk. It's only 180 yards from the end of the bridge to the crime scene over here. So he has them go down the hill, boom, up there, and then he's over there at maybe at the very latest 2:50, but as early as 2:30. And he does what he does, and they're not alive anymore, and there's no screaming to be heard by anybody.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, thanks. Yeah, well, it was interesting thoughts you have there. They're interesting thoughts. It's just one of those things. He knew that there was nobody in front of him. That's my opinion. And he knew there was nobody behind him. So he took them there at a time when nobody was around. So even if there was going to be people, it was going to be very few in number. But he also probably knew that he was going to have time to get them somewhere because there was nobody at the very far end of the bridge, the northwest end of the bridge, when he took them down the hill. So he probably knows it's a 6-minute walk across the bridge or so. So he's got 6 to 10 minutes to get them over there before anybody would likely be over there. But most people don't even cross the bridge. They just go onto the bridge, take some photos, and then go off of it. So there you
go. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read somewhere that some comment said that the search party mainly parked in the cemetery parking lot. Do you know if that's true or not?
I don't know if. I think the next day maybe. I don't know if that night they would have done that.
My point is, if the perpetrator was concerned about being seen or heard or whatever else, and that cemetery parking lot was the preferred parking for almost the whole area, besides where the people normally parked for the park, then that would have been a concern for the perpetrator. Somebody came up there to put some flowers out on a tombstone or something. I don't know, but I just find the time frame to be so tight, and for people to be out there. But like you said, maybe they had just gotten to the bridge level too late to hear anything. But you're still talking about a really tight time frame. But like you said earlier too, we don't know exactly when he left. I mean, Libby's father might have been out there when he was still out there.
Yeah, it's also yeah. Well, I think he probably was when he was still, the killer was still out there. I think there's there's information that suggests that, especially they even say that the vehicle was there between 12 and 5, but there's other information out there. So hey, but you got a fellow Southeast Sider. We call him. The people who believe the killer came from the Southeast Side, he changed his name recently to Southeast Side Bill from Miami. It used to be Bill from Miami, but then he threw the Southeast Side because I joked around about it. So now we got another one. If you believe that, unless that's just a theory that
I don't necessarily do, but I just think about the fact that looking at the pictures of that bridge, unless you're really familiar and you've been across it a bunch of times and you're really familiar with the area, you wouldn't be necessarily, but it was a school day off, and most of the kids that went out there did cross the bridge for thrill purposes. So he might have done all of that.
How about this one? How about this one? This is I just thought of this right now.
Yeah.
So he takes them across the creek right there. And while he's over there, he would have gone back across and then gone across the bridge because he would be by himself and nobody would have even known he was there because he'd known nobody saw him with the girls. But what happened was when he was over there, he saw that Cheyenne and those other people were on the bridge. So then he had to improvise. And at that point, he knew the area well enough to walk around, up around in the wooded area that is south of the cemetery, and then reconnected back with the trail, about halfway between the start of the bridge and the parking, the 501, 505 sign area. So he could have just done that because he would have had to improvise at that point. If his plan was to go back over the bridge, and then he heard that there was people on there, then at that moment he would say, "Oh shit, I can't do this." So then he'd have to find another way back to his vehicle. So he either went back out to the west 300 north by the cemetery, so he might have even left through the cemetery and walked down 300 north for a ways, then cut back across to get into the trail system again, so that he, could minimize the sightings of him.
Yeah.
What do you think? Thanks, Zozo, Matt Evans, and Lee D. All right, thanks. I mean, I don't know if you might want to check out that map, like later watch what I was just showing. I think that's definitely, he wouldn't have gone back across the bridge knowing that there was 3 people on it.
Yeah, exactly. What's your theory on the 2 different pictures, and from the second picture, not really looking much like, to me, the individual on the video, but the video is grainy. It is, a lot of things. Maybe he had a slight disguise on.
What it is the second image that we're seeing. A lot of people don't realize it, but that was the first sketch made. That there was a witness that saw somebody, and that's what they came up with the sketch. But law enforcement, I think, had another witness, and then of a different person probably, and then they were, well, this looks more like what that video looks like. So they went with that one for 2 years or so, and then they did that whole reset, and then they went back to the original sketch released of that really young-looking Tom Cruise-like face. I don't know why they look like that. I don't really have a lot of confidence in either of the sketches, though, because of how different they are from each other. So at that point, you just kind of go, I don't know.
Yes, something about that second sketch I don't like. It doesn't look stature-wise like the person that's walking on the bridge, even though he's having to look down and watch his step and everything else. That second person doesn't look like that person who looks like an older individual that's having some issues crossing that bridge. I don't know. What do you think about that?
That he doesn't look like the. I kind of couldn't hear something for a second. What was that last?
Well, what I'm saying is, stature-wise, the person in that second sketch, that person doesn't look stature-wise like the person that's crossing that bridge.
Yeah, I think the guy walking across the bridge looks like, as we said 1,000 times, looks like, to me, he's between like 35 and 45. And I think he looks like he's got kind of thinner legs and a little bigger upper body, and he kind of has these pants on, and that are just, I don't know, he looks like a normal person that lives in Delphi, but he doesn't look like an 18-year-old kid to me at all.
Not at all.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
All right. But hey, I got another person's been on hold that whole time, but that was really interesting conversation. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and I really appreciate all your work that you've done on this, and hopefully they'll find the perpetrator here soon and apprehend him. Appreciate all your work, Gray.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. Good one. All right. 770, you're on.
It's Layla.
Oh, it's Layla. Oh, boy. Here we go, everybody.
Yeah, I got a lot to say.
All speculation. Hey, here we go.
It's not all speculation.
Of the wild variety. We emailed back and forth. There we go.
Look.
She's calling in about the 2:30 ping time.
The lawyer in me has got to make my case. Got to hear it.
Oh, jeez. Here we go, everybody.
Okay, here we go. First of all, the caller that I just listened to made some absolutely great points. Yep. And so I was really interested in the conversation the two of you just had. So I want to jump back to a couple of things that were just said. And I want to add to that, because I think if you add all of the conversation you two just had to the guest that you had on the other night, her name was Sarah, right?
Yeah, Sarah Kalin.
Okay. So if we add all of that together and look at the totality of these conversations, we see that this is a perpetrator who obviously is skilled. Okay, this person obviously was comfortable enough to do this in broad daylight with two people. Now, he may not have gone there to hunt for two people, but he went there and he ended up with 2 people. He probably targeted one. He may have used a cutting instrument, which would have, like your caller just said, left him with blood on him. He may have had to improvise and use a change of clothes, right? Or layer, or take clothes off, or whatever. I don't think he had a kill kit or anything like Israel Keys or anything. I think that would have taken too much premeditation in a park that was visited by too many people. But now you're talking about the cemetery and the people parking in the cemetery and people going in the cemetery.
But these are just conversations. I mean, here's the thing is, they're just conversations and speculations, so you can't like start putting pieces together on just wild speculation.
But they're common sense.
Well, some of it. No, some of it is. Some of it's just complete speculation. There's, I mean, you know.
But if you're using the information provided by people like Sarah and people like that profiler O'Toole who do this for a living, and have dealt with perpetrators like this, you can start to see where it's more common than not that this is the type of person.
Right, but I mean, but here's the thing is, I'm not even a profiler, but I've covered so many cases that I'm not bad at it, and I've been saying the same exact same things that they've been saying on my own. You know, like I've always said, he's a little bit of a serial killer type person.
And I'm agreeing with
he
you.
Doesn't live in his basement. He's probably has a normal family to sort of hide what he does. I've been saying all that for a long time. So the thing is you wonder.
I don't know about all that. I didn't think about all that, but
that was
all
part
I'm
of
thinking about is.
Well, that was part of that. That was part of her behavior analysis the other night, Sarah's.
Yeah, I wasn't getting into all that, but I was thinking more along the lines of, now you factor in this ping thing. This guy probably was involved in some fashion. Maybe he was part of the search party. Maybe he kept up with the search party. Maybe he knew something about it. But he heard about the Snapchat. And then if he heard about the Snapchat like you surmised, went back out there and said, you know, I know the area, obviously, where this took place, where the bodies are, and had minimal light to look around. But then they got the call, and he saw them or heard them coming back out, or was in the search party and was notified that they were coming back out.
Right, okay, so like I said earlier, maybe all that's possible, but what does the phone have to do with it? I mean, other than that's why he would want to go back out and find it, because he saw the Snapchat image. The ping, though, has nothing to do with that guy.
The ping has everything to do with it.
How?
Because the ping drew him back out there.
No, he wouldn't have known about the ping. That was Lesenby just calling the fire station. Unless you're saying that the fire department is the...
Well, no. I'm not saying they're the perpetrator, but I'm saying... What I'm saying is, if he went back out, he could have been the one that disturbed the phone enough to communicate it again.
Okay, but see, but that, right. But what do you think the odds of that are? That he goes out there walking around and he kicks the phone just enough that it sends a signal.
I've been researching that, and that actually is not that far-fetched.
Okay.
Animal activity.
Let me ask you, what was the search term? What search term did you type in? Like, what phrasing was it? Like, let's see. Is it possible to kick a phone in the ground and have it? You know, it's just... No,
I went and learned about pinging capabilities and cell phone towers, and started researching how they communicate with one another.
Yeah, I mean,
and whether a phone has to be dead or what, all of that.
It was obviously still working a little bit. It was still working. Hey, thanks, see. Yeah, the phone was still, it wasn't completely dead or anything. It was probably just very faint, or it was even much more active had much more power earlier in the day, and it just was dying and dying and dying. And then somehow some, conditions in the sky or something happened where it was able to have that one ping, okay? Just have one ping.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is the guy didn't go out there and accidentally hit the phone and then it pinged and showed that he was there at 2:30 in the morning. I mean, the odds of that are like 1 in 100,000. So to sort of say that's what it was.
So are they with shark attacks, but yet people die, right?
Well, I don't even get the, I don't really get
All I'm saying we don't know that it happened or didn't happen, but the fact that now we know that happened. They've always said this guy was hiding in plain sight. They've always said this guy was local. Now we have this one little bit of information. It's like one more little brick.
Well, no, but here's the thing: I just think it's interesting that the phone pinged, but I'm not going to assign it to the suspect. But it did open the door to thinking about, hey, wow, if he had seen the Snapchat image, he might have been out there looking for the phone later. He just didn't find it either, because had he found it, he would have taken it with him, because he would have thought that he was on there, because the girl that Libby had the phone with her. I don't know if he would have been able to tell. I think he would have known that Libby filmed Abby, because that's the image that was loaded up onto Snapchat. So it doesn't seem if it is a local person that has connections, it doesn't sound far-fetched to me that if he blended into the community, that he'd want to go back out in the searching to try to find that phone after he realized it existed. But to then assign that he's the one that accidentally set off the phone at 2:30 in the morning, I think is a really huge stretch. But it wouldn't shock me at all if he was out there looking for it. No?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. I'm just saying it could have happened. I mean, he could have seen that and went back out there. Something set the phone back off. And it's just suspicious that all of a sudden the phone's pinging. It's just.
Well, but we don't. But here's the thing. But see, we don't even know if he went back out there. I think it wouldn't shock me. It's just I don't even think it's that likely that he went back out there. But it's just sort of like you have to say, well, he definitely was out there, and he's the one that set out the phone. But even him setting that phone off was an accident. He didn't even know that he set it off. See, that just is a lie.
But here's what's weird. They called it off. Becky Patty said they called it off at 1:30. I just read something else online where Becky Patty said they called it off at 1:30 a.m. The guys said, guys, they've got jobs to get to. They've got to leave. And this was at 1:30 a.m. And then they got a call at 2:30. It's just strange. I mean, But then again, if they were out there all that time, somebody else probably would have kicked it. So, I don't know. It's just... It's all strange. But anyway.
I guess you could make the argument that if he did go out there, the odds of him kicking it would be better because he knew the route that they walked.
He knew where it was.
But at the same,
he knew where they were.
Right. But I'm just saying, the whole scenario, him going back out there, you think he would just want to disappear. But then when he realized that phone existed, maybe he wanted to find it first. But then he didn't find it. But he didn't find it. So then he accidentally kicked it, and it sort of made it. Here's what we have to believe. I just gotta get this whole sentence out. That he walked by and somehow he affected the location of the phone a little bit, not knowingly, and it sent off a ping. And then then he also set it so it didn't ping after that. Like somehow because why didn't it ping at 2:35, 2:40, 2:50? Keep going. After he dislodged it from the area. For me, it seems like it was sort of like a very little power left in that phone, and it just sort of made contact because it was so far down that hill. It was like trying to beam through rock, and somehow something happened. It made contact, and then it probably died not too long after that. That's what I think.
According to the report that I read when I was reading, the phone pings and communicate every set hour on the cell tower. However, that is up to the individual carriers. Like some carriers, it's every 6 hours. Some it's every 8 hours. It just depends. And it depends on what's going on with the individual phone.
Yeah.
If it's covered, if it can't communicate. Now, my thinking is this. Perhaps he saw the Snapchat, and he said, oh crap, I've got to go out there. That phone, I've got to try to find it. Now, let's say he went out there. He knew where the bodies were. He knew the more likelihood of where the path might be. So he's kicking around, he's walking around. You know, there was that report, and I tried to find it today, but I couldn't find it. There was that lady that said she saw some light in the woods. There was a guy that reported it, but he passed away a year or so ago.
Yeah, we're just getting in a weird realm at this point. But yeah, I mean, so even if there was somebody out there and he kicked the phone and it sent off a signal, then what happened after that? The phone, it just sort of fell back to where it was. He just shimmied it a little bit, and
or maybe it only pings every so often. But remember, I don't remember when they found it after that. I don't know when they found the phone. They never said when they found the phone, I don't think. Was it after or before the bodies?
Which part? What are you saying?
The phone. Did the searchers find the phone before or after they found the girls?
I would assume it was. I'm just going to assume it was after. Like it was just part of the
I don't know.
investigation. I don't know the answer either. It could have been earlier in the day when people were looking around. They found the shoe before they found them.
I don't know.
Right.
So I never could find. I searched for that. I could never find when they found the phone.
Well, awesome.
So, I mean, they could have found the phone before.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get this, but you got your theory out there, right? I got another call on hold here. So.
Yeah, that's all I had. That's all I had. I see people are slamming me in the message.
They're not slamming you. I don't see anybody slamming you.
Yeah, I think somebody told them to be nice and did something.
Oh yeah, well don't be mean to the callers. You know, I just get me and her just go back. This is what we do when we're on our calls, right?
Hey, look, I can take it. Don't even worry about it. I'm all good.
Layla.
Like okay.
My Layla.
Layla. All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, thanks. See you.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean, what she's saying is possible, just not very likely, right? And definitely if the person went out there and he found the phone, he's not going to leave it there, right? Because he wouldn't know what was on that thing, and it turns out that he was on there, and his voice. He probably wouldn't have been able to watch it if there was a password on that phone, which I think there was, because that was the reason that they couldn't get into it right away. All right, here we go. 517, you're on. 517. Hello.
For taking my call. I appreciate it.
Oh, cool. Who's this?
My name is Jennifer. I've been watching you for a little time now, and you do a great job and a lot of information you pass on. I hope the case can definitely get solved sooner rather than later, but wishful thinking.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Question I have for you on the case is there was, of course, there's a lot of speculation and there's a lot of, here and there and stuff, but they had said that Libby was found naked halfway under, leaves and stuff. Did they ever find her clothes?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, they did find, there was some images and people saying at the time that some clothing was found in the creek right below the crime scene there. I'm not sure what that sound is. I might have to go press a button here in a minute. But that information that you're saying right now, I've had that same information for 4 years, and I wasn't bringing it out because, I was respecting the family and their wishes, and the police who don't want crime scene information out there. So I've had those images, me and a few other people in this small secret Facebook group, because people would send us stuff, and we found stuff early on, and we put them in there. So, you know, I don't. The thing is I have that exact information. I just don't really talk about it that much. Well, what do you want? What's the point that you want? Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's sort of more like people.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. I think it's more like the timeline. You know, as the previous caller, a couple callers said, the time frame is very narrow. And my thing is, you know, if he made her undressed or something like that, like what would make, you know, that it's just also with the time. It just seems like he didn't have a lot of time. I think personally he was trying to get them somewhere to, you know, sexually assault them, and his plan went wrong. They started fighting, and especially Libby.
Right. Well, that's why I always thought that's why I always thought, like I've said this 1,000 times, but like when you go out the end of the bridge, down the hill, then down the second hill, there's this little corner back here where it just seems like a perfect spot where he was possibly going to choose, but then one of them made a run for it, and they both went across the creek, and then they were found over here. And he might have even been. It's kind of interesting because maybe he was already trying to get them to get their clothes off. That's why there was a shoe there. Hell, maybe you know, one of them even grabbed their own clothes and was didn't have clothing on when they ran across the creek, and then something happened to him over here. You know, that kind of makes sense. Like, let's say you're running with clothing in your arms, and then you know, one of your shoes falls, but you just kind of keep going. I don't really know. You know, there's just so much speculation. There's a shoe there.
Yeah. And it's not that to get tied up, it's just more the timeline. I don't think he had a lot of time from when they got down the hill. I think something went terribly wrong, especially Libby seemed, you know, like such a hero, more running and for her life, whatever happened, and maybe tried to fight him off. But it's more the time frame that I was concerned. And then the other caller did bring up a lot of good points. But the last question is, I mean, he had to go through the water, just like the girls did. So, of course, his pants and that video across the bridge, it doesn't look like he was carrying another outfit, anything like that. I'm just shocked with as beautiful of a day, as many people out there, that nobody's seen somebody off, like with wet pants and stuff like that. None of it just makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, you know, it seems like just based on the funeral images that were released, that, you know, maybe Libby was the target of, or, you know, I don't know if when we say target. See, my thing is, I think this whole thing was planned, but it just wasn't that Libby and Abby were planned. It was just he was out there waiting for a fly to land in the web that he had thought through. Okay, so then there was two girls, and at that moment he decided on which one he wanted to be with, and that became the victim, and the other one was sort of a casualty of the situation. That wasn't, you know, that's kind of how I picture it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I pray for the families, and you know, God bless all the families involved, and hopefully this case, you know, I'm a mother too, and you feel so bad, and I really appreciate all the work you do, and all the insight and feedback, all the other callers. It's very tragic, and hopefully this pathetic individual can be caught one day.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I'm hoping this next year. Come on, everybody. Let's do it.
Yeah. But I think I really truly think, I think the police are doing what they can, but I think they really, you know, it's been now 4 years. They really need to just start giving a little bit more detail. I know they're trying to be tight-lipped, but they need to give some more information to the public of whatever they can, because right now it's stalling, and we don't want this to turn into a Jean Bonnet situation that, you know, 20 plus years later, we still don't have any answers. It's terrible. There's more evidence with his voice, with the pictures, even if it was grainy. You know, something's got to give. You know, what DNA did they find? And, you know, that DNA expert, I can't think of what her name is, but they need to get her involved. So, you know, whatever help they can get.
Well, you probably, I don't know if you watch my channel at all, but we have the most renowned of them all. You're probably talking about the Parabon one, but if you watch some of my older videos, we have Colleen Fitzpatrick on. Her and Margaret Press started the DNA Doe Project and she's actually she started forensic genetic genealogy. She's the one that started it all. The other one, the one that you're referring to, is just famous. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, I just started watching. I mean, there's a lot of different people out there, on YouTube and stuff. I'm more of a newer follower, but you definitely are very good at what you do and professional, and you try to keep it, factual rather than just making up some crazy stories.
Well, sometimes that gets me in trouble, though. People get mad at me for not allowing the really wild speculation. But anyways.
Right. Well, thank you for all you do, Gray, and stuff. I appreciate it. Again, I'm keeping the family in my prayers, and keep up the great work and stuff. I think you do an amazing job.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you. Good night. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, I'm gonna be back in just a second here. So 207, you're on there next. All right. So hold on a second. Here you guys. Do the rap. Be back in just a second. All right, I'm back. I was talking about the Blazers with my wife, Chris. What a crazy win that was. It was just really ludicrous. Hold on a second. All right, back on. Oh yeah, let me try to remember my old school. Hold on a second. Gray, did you wash your hands? All right. So we got another caller here. We actually had another one calling, but 20. Oh, I was just adding 207 on just now, and they hung up. Wow, that's too bad. Wow, I was just clicking it. 573. You can unmute yourself. *6. Hello, 573.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. Who's this?
This is Jackie. I email you sometimes asking you questions, but I pretty much lurk.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I just have a question. This is probably pretty dumb, but I've wondered it. They seem so sure that Bridge Guy is from that area. So I just wondered, do you think that he could have had some scenario set up already over there? You know, tool, something, I don't know.
You mean like a kit of some sort?
Have it already set up.
Yeah, you know, it's not like impossible. I just don't think so. I mean, it seems to me like he had a lot of stuff on him, You know, if you look at that
He did have
jacket,
a lot of
there's
stuff on
stuff in him. I think he was just knew where he was going to go, and he had whatever he needed with him. I don't think he had a place like a kill kit buried somewhere like.
Yeah, I was just wondering, what do you just think that because he knows the area so well, that's why they think he's there for sure?
Well, the thing is I think he knows the area pretty well. Like, he's probably obviously been there, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the reality of it. He could have been there for the previous week when everybody was in school.
Sure.
You know, maybe he got lucky. You know, nobody was there those days, and he kind of scouted out the area, and he was looking around, and he just sort of became aware of the area, and then finally somebody fell into his trap on a particular day. There just happened to be more people there that day, and then there was this little window of time where there was not as many, or almost nobody there at all, and it was just the girls, and then he got them on the other side of the bridge. So it could be something like that, or it could be that he lived there when he was younger. It could be that he's he just knows about the bridge because he's been out there before with other people. And, you know, there's just so many scenarios. I don't think people need to be... Robert Ives doesn't necessarily believe, as he said, that the person's a local person. He doesn't necessarily believe that. So I don't know. I think it's possible that he's local, but what does local mean? What is 10 miles local? Or does it need to be somebody in the community?
Right. You know, my mom and dad owned a liquor store, a grocery store, gas station, and every farmer that came in there was dressed just like that. So, I mean, you can't really tell by what he's wearing. But you said one time that he didn't have a pot belly. You thought that was something else. You think that he doesn't have a pot belly?
Well, he might have a little tiny thing, but what we're seeing there isn't his belly. It's got clumps in it. He'd have a really... You know, if he didn't have a shirt on, it'd be a weird-looking shirt. It looked like he had wrenches inside of his stomach. You know?
Does it look like that to you? The other thing is that somebody somewhere on the internet took that picture, the older picture of the guy, and they made him smile. You know, as animated. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I think those things are absolutely ridiculous. You
don't think that changes his looks a lot?
Well, yeah, that's why they're ridiculous. I think all of those people, everybody out there that takes the sketch and puts real skin on them, they're idiots. Okay, you know, it's a great.
No, it wasn't real skin. It was just it was the drawing.
Right, but think how dumb that is, though. I mean, it's just sketches are just.
It did give him a different look, though. You know,
but why is that? Why is that good? That it gave him a different look.
Well, when somebody smiles, I think their expression in their face changes, don't you?
I mean, but I mean,
you know what I mean.
What did they do?
Somebody's smiling and somebody's scowling, just staring.
Did they take the sketch and make it smile? I think I've seen that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's just a sketch.
So again,
on the face other than,
right, but okay, I get what you're saying, but it's ludicrous when people do stuff like that. Okay, and the reason is because a sketch isn't even. It's just supposed to be a somewhat of a likeness for you to go, oh yeah, well maybe. So when you're sitting there putting smiles on a sketch, the people who do that are just sensationalistic jackasses helping nobody on the in the case.
That's true.
At all. What they want you to do is go, wow, what a neato technology, whoa, and it doesn't help anybody.
I did. That's exactly what I did do. It kind of struck me, but
yeah. See, that's the thing is people think it's really neat, and they go, wow, have you seen that thing? Yeah. And it's just. Absolutely bogus and doesn't help anything. It hurts the kids.
They got me hooked on that one.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I thought on the show last night where they put the two faces over the top of each other. Did you see that?
Which one?
On the show on CNN last night. They took the two pictures and put them on top of each other.
Yeah, because that's because probably Carter said something about how it's in between the two when they clearly said. Listen, let me. I'm going to say this one time. Anybody out there that thinks it's useful to put a smiley face on a sketch, after right this second, is an idiot. Okay, it's not useful at all. It's absolutely idiotic because we don't even know if the guy smiles like that.
No,
And
yeah, no, this wasn't a smile. On the show last night.
No, I'm talking about the one that you were just talking about. We had this idiot in there, Stefan up here, go, "Hey, I don't agree, Gray. I think a good smile on a sketch is worthwhile." You know, listen, it's not, okay? Anytime you see these people do this crap with images, you should immediately shun them and just say this is garbage, because it absolutely doesn't help anybody. So what, did they put the two sketches over the top of each other?
Right over the top of each other.
Yeah.
And they said that by looking at them, you don't think they look a whole lot alike, but
No,
they
really don't.
And put them on top of each other.
They just want you to think they don't look alike at all. And even when you put them on top of each other, they don't. See, what they're doing is that little trick where, oh, look, you kind of blend it in, and then it morphs it. Put them side by side. They don't look like. They don't look similar at all.
Side by side.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was interesting.
Well, maybe you're not, Stephen, but you saying that it's okay to put a smile on a sketch, it really throws into question anything you might say in the future. All right, let's put it that way.
Yeah, they almost got me there.
No, it's not that. Hey, Joe Shipley. No, it doesn't matter. If you don't agree with me, it doesn't make you an idiot. But if you agree that putting a smile face on a sketch is a good thing, then yes, it does. All right, Joe? There's a lot of people that don't agree with me on a lot of stuff, and it doesn't bother me at all. But that's one of those things that it's 100% true what I said. So if you disagree with it, well, you know, that's 1 + 1 does equal 2, not 17. All right.
And the other thing is, with the DNA and the genealogy, evidently he doesn't have a lot of relatives. I'm sure they probably have done that, you know. But couldn't they? I don't know. This is another dumb idea, but in England, one of the first things I read about DNA is they went around and they tested everybody, all the males in one town, and you can't do that there, I'm sure.
Well, I think they did do something. They kind of did something close to that in Delphi.
Did they?
They tested a lot of people there. Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. I remember like everybody. I remember early on people were saying, man, everybody got tested." But shoot, I got like how many calls? 3 more calls now on hold. That's crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go.
205. Wait, I'm trying to. Well, do you got anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Well, no, I was just thinking if they could get DNA for volunteers, or even pay people $100 to come in and get your DNA. You know, and sign a contract.
Well, of course you would come in, but who wouldn't come in? The killer. Hey, tell you what, to make it $1,000, right? And if you're not
mama or sister,
if you're not feeling guilty about it, why wouldn't you go get $1,000, right? So
but it might be a relative they catch, you know.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: is if the only people that wouldn't want to make $1,000 would be somebody that thought they had something to do with it, right? Like,
right,
because you just go, well, hey, I didn't do it.
Or
yeah, I mean,
your cousin might want that $1,000, or
yeah, but the one person who didn't want the 1,000 might even be the killer, right?
Right, that'd be the one.
Yeah.
But
all right,
I hope they solve it.
Well, hey, I appreciate you calling in. Sorry for the mini drama in the chat at the time, but you know, you get a lot of people that get really butthurt.
It was nice talking to you, Greg.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one. See you. Bye. No, I agree with you there, Stephen. I'm not saying that at all. But what you're saying is you don't agree that putting a smiling face on a sketch is ludicrous. How can you not believe that? I need an answer for that. Tell me what value putting a smiling face on a sketch that is just a likeness of somebody, how that helps anybody. We don't even know. What if the smile, what if the killer actually had something wrong with his mouth that he couldn't smile very well? Well, then you got this big shit-eating grin on the sketch's face, and they go, well, it can't be that guy. That's why it's just dumb. Just use what they give you. All right? Let's see. We've got the... well, here's another thing I'd like to do, everybody. How about we just say no to bridge guy? All right? How about we quit using the term bridge guy? I think it's the stupidest thing. I'm shocked that HLN kept calling him that. It just sounds so crazy. Can we just call him the suspect? Doesn't that just seem really simple? And I'll tell you what, guys, that's even a shorter abbreviation. Just type in the S. Hey, what do you think of S? And I'd go, oh, cool. That's even shorter than BG. And I'll tell you another thing that was driving me nuts today. I got some callers here. 205 will be next. There's these lists that go around out there that have like 100 different names with 2 initials for each one of them, so that people can talk about them. And then you think to yourself, well, there's only one killer likely, right? So what would the other 99 names have to do with a damn thing? I mean, these people waste so much time, and they probably have a quiz. Hey, Cindy, how many do you remember this week? Well, I've got it down. I've got 60 of them. I remember. Okay, it's insane. All right, here we go. 205, you're on. 205. You have to hit the. There you go. What's going on? Pretty good. What's going on with you?
Do you believe Superintendent read his speech before he gave it last April or in April 2019?
Do I think he said? Do you think Carter proofread his speech when he gave the one in 2019? Right, the last one, the big one.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. It sort of seemed like he had some things to talk about and kind of spoke off the cuff, really. What do you think?
I was thinking it was sort of probably put together by profilers, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's the guest that we had on a couple days ago said. It was completely planned out, exactly what he was going to be saying. Maybe not that's why I think he was, but he had the points that he needed to say. Okay, and that's what Sarah Kalin was saying. When she watched it, she said that it seemed like it was an absolutely planned press conference targeted to a specific maybe not a. Well, she even thinks it's a specific individual, that they might even know who that person is.
Yes. Here's what I think. You remember the day after they come out and clarified and talking about the abandoned car and he meant abandoned building?
What was that part?
He talked about the abandoned car on the 22nd, and then they come back on the 23rd and, clarified it and said he meant to say...
You're right, exactly.
The abandoned building.
Yeah. And I actually had to contact... I sent Carter an email, but he didn't answer it, but it was Holman that sent me a reply, and he said that, he misspoke. It was supposed to be abandoned CPS building, not abandoned vehicle. Because as soon as he said abandoned vehicle, whoa! Well, they must know who owns the vehicle then, right? Yeah, because
I just think,
right.
I just think, like they invited everybody that Friday, and started inviting, and they pounded it, wanting people to come, like HLN said last night, and then everybody shows up, and Carter gets up there, and he's got this speech he's prepared for a few days, and he says abandoned car, and there's only one person in that room that abandoned their car on February 13th, if you think about it.
There's only one person in the room that abandoned their car?
On February 13th.
You mean the red car at the cemetery? That one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but the car they're talking about is around the... is by the abandoned CPS building. I don't know. Where'd he go? What happened? Uh-oh. Well, I guess he accidentally got disconnected somehow. I don't need to have any information about the car, Bill. And yes, hey, Joe, I do look like it. And it's morons like you that actually send in tips about people like me. Like Holman got tips sent in on him. Every single officer that works there got tips sent on him. I got a tip sent in on me to the Facebook group of the Indiana State Police that said, hey, this guy just knows too much. And I said, wow, that's kind of cool. So I put my flow video on there, and that's why they why the prosecutor actually contacted me to use my, if they caught the guy, they'd use my services to create graphics, right? So, well, it's not going to be any new information, Bill. So, let's see. Oh no, I've got the little, little goatee here. Yeah, they reported me to the Facebook page. But it actually turned out in my favor. It was pretty cool. That's how somebody actually recognized the work that I was doing. And where's that idiot up above? Who was that? Oh yeah, Maria Graff. Okay, it says, "Why are you so angry and arrogant to people? Let people give their opinions and show some respect." Okay, listen. I respect opinions that make sense. Okay? That's what I respect. So you know the phrase, I'm going to tell you guys this again. The phrase when people say this sentence, they say, "You have to respect their opinion." I totally disagree with that. And all of you should too. When somebody says you have to respect their opinion. Now, what we should all agree with is that everybody has the right to have an opinion. Okay? Can we all give an amen that everyone has a right to have an opinion? Okay? But I'm not then required to respect the opinion itself. Okay? Because if I told you 1 + 1 = 2 and you said no, it's 3, I don't have to respect your opinion. I then will say you're an idiot. Okay? That's what I would say. All right. So I hope that's clear. Not trying to... All right, here we go. Let me get this next call here. 903, you're on. Hello, 903. Hey, what's up?
Gray, it's Brad from Texas. How you doing, man?
I knew it was Brad from Texas. I knew it.
I
the
guess
Delphi caller.
I guess you remember me. Hey, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I was watching your show last night. You was in a hotel. Y'all got snowed in?
Yeah, it kind of sucked. It was,
we down here in Texas, we had 8 inches of snow a couple nights ago, and set a record low, -2 last night. I've never seen it in the single digits down here. It's crazy, and we're getting snow tonight. So
here, hold on 1 second. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna say southeast side, Bill. I'll check that out in a minute or so. Okay, looked mildly interesting. Let me see what you're talking about. All right, southeast side, Bill. All right, so go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to. Do you know how much snow y'all got the other night?
We got like 8 I think we got like 8 or 10 inches, but it froze up and got really packed in. And here in Portland, very few people seem to be ready for it when it happens, and they just it turns into a nightmare. But what really happened was it got warm too quick, and then it started to rain, and then it made this snow really heavy on the trees, and literally, I mean, it just broke branches around all over, and transformers were blowing up. But they actually fixed my neighborhood like at, 11 o'clock last night, but I was already kind of in the hotel ready to sleep. But got up in the morning, and we're back in business.
Yeah, good. We got lucky. Our snow was the powdery snow, but us Texans, we can't handle all that stuff. Anyway, hey, I wanted to get down to business real quick. I hope everybody's doing good tonight. And I had 2 real quick questions for you. One of them was about the show. I saw on your profile it says about the show calling in about the show.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has asked this yet or not, but where Tobit talked about the calling in the bloodhounds and they didn't make it. I just wonder how much of a difference that would have made if the dogs didn't make it. Maybe did follow the trail to potentially where the car was at.
Yeah, it would have been cool if because he said he called them off after they found the girls. Or they found the girls, right? So he called them off. But yeah, I mean, why would you do that? It's just, because at that point you're looking, that should have been like, oh my God, bring in more bloodhounds. Let's get like 10 of them. We got to figure out which way this guy came. This is a murder, That's such a weird time to call that off. It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I know that's one thing he said that's really kicking him. And you know, hindsight is always 20/20. I know he would probably do it all over again, and it would probably answer a whole lot more questions. And if it did lead to the car, and they had the photo or something of the car, I don't know why they don't release that. But of course, I don't know hardly. We don't know the information that they have, and they're keeping a lot to their vest. So it's just, I guess, a lot of it's speculation. But anyway, and the other thing, I had my questions written down this time, so I'm a little bit more prepared this time. But one of the things that I don't hear people talk about very much on this is that the crime happened on a Monday. This person, the suspect, that could rule out a lot of people that are potential suspects just from the fact of, because like that day, I remember the day that the crime happened, I was at work and, heard about it the next day. I was like, what in the world? And then as time went along, I was like, well, that was on a Monday. It's kind of crazy. I just think that you just don't hardly ever hear people talk about that it was that this suspect was off on a Monday, but he could be jobless or he could have been off work.
Yeah, I mean, that is something I heard somebody bring up the other day, like, wow, so this guy was off that day. But the thing is people don't always have, very few people have Monday through Friday works. I mean, not very few. I would just say it's not like 90% of the people. A lot of people work the weekends and a couple of the weekdays, especially if you're in like the restaurant work or just even a shift at a factory. You might work 3 10s or 3 12s or something like that. Then the next week 4
or not.
Yeah, maybe 4 3 4 3 4 3. Nurses do that kind of stuff. It just doesn't. It's not really that big a deal to me that he wasn't working on that day.
Yeah, you're right. I guess my point about it is that at least they could, if it was somebody that they was onto, and they're like, well, let's go check this person's work schedule, or if they work that day or whatnot. So I just think that could be potentially a good tool to have to use against them if the suspect's name, they checked the record and said, well, this guy was supposed to be at work today, but he wasn't. I just think that could potentially be a good thing to have.
Yeah, that might
in
be.
Their back pocket.
Because that's one of the things that the FBI profiler was saying. So yeah, I mean, if it's something where he was supposed to be at work, but his urges took over, so he did his hunting on the day, and there's really no good excuse of why he wasn't at work, then maybe that's something to look at. Yeah.
100%. Well, Gray, that's all I'm going to bother you with tonight. I see you got a big call log tonight, so I had to wait in queue. I felt like I was calling in to pay a bill or something, waiting about 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anyways, yeah. Well, hopefully it wasn't that bad. I mean.
No. It was only like 7 or 8 minutes, so not too bad.
There was a better payoff at the end, though, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, the build up is worth it. It's like waiting to come out of the curtain.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you, man. Have a great night.
Well, thank you. Have a good one. Thanks, Brad.
Bye-bye.
Right,
you too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, we've said that, like with 12 cut pizzas set up there. That's what everybody's had as a theory since the very beginning. That he was kind of just sitting on the bench. They walked by. He said something to them. That's why they remembered him later as this creepy guy. That's been said since the beginning. But anyways, yeah, let's all what Stephen, or is it Stephen, or I'm not sure if I'm even saying that right. Stephen N said earlier, they didn't know what BG means. I think we should all start doing that. Don't you think it's almost disrespectful to the family to call that person Bridge Guy? I said this the other night. I think that is so ludicrous. Oh, hey, who is that guy? Oh, he's the Bridge Guy. It just sounds so watered down and stupid. I don't even know how that made it into the lexicon. I say it sometimes too, but I don't want to. I'd rather just say suspect. But if you say suspect, they go, "Who are you talking about?" You know how when people have a definition and they say BG, or not, like let's say I've been on one of these lists. GH equals controversial YouTuber. Okay, well, for this guy, you have to say suspect. Well, let's see. It's the other way around. You know how you come up with the initials next, like Gray Hughes equals GH. Well, in this case, it would be Bridge Guy equals the suspect. Because it really should be that he's just called the suspect. And don't say unsub, because if you say that, you're just trying to sound like you're too CSIE. Right? There's only one suspect in the case. It's the guy that we see in the video. There might be somebody else that law enforcement knows about, but we don't. So all we know is that there's one person. Anything else is speculation. And the thing is, everybody, I do speculate on this channel, but I speculate using like a really narrow the facts, right? And one of the lines that I say is that everybody believes you should think outside the box sometimes, right? Everybody? Doesn't everybody agree that we should think outside the box occasionally? But here's the thing, is I think we should think outside the box once the box is filled with all the knowable facts. And then once you have that box filled with the facts, then think outside of it using the facts as the guide to think outside of it. There you go. And that allows you to come up with something that is very likely possible, or very likely what happened, not possible. All right, let me check this thing out that Bill sent. Sounds like it's pretty interesting. Hey, he said our show's funny, even though I said, I don't know, Bill. But now I'm going to look at it because it seems pretty interesting. All right, let's see what he says. This is,
and on the...
Oh, I can't play that guy. When was this from? When was that video from, though, that you just sent me there? I can't play. I didn't even know who you sent me. I don't play that guy. Has no details about the car other than it was a car. Yeah, I can't play. I'm not going to play that guy. One of the, just absolute crazy people. Yeah, I can't play that video. I don't want to play it. So what does it say? Say what it says in there. Because I've always believed, once after this press conference, our buddy Cairo, who basically does maintenance on cell towers, he took a special trip for me into Delphi to check if there were surveillance cameras on any of these buildings right here. And check it out. This one had two of them, one there and one there. Now this one, if the suspect walked by right there, man, you've got a great shot of him. There's one right there. But one of the really interesting things is that here is the abandoned CPS building, and right there is another surveillance camera, and the arc of the camera would be something like this. Let me draw it for you, and then you can see it. It's just like this. And so then this side would obviously, actually it's better to go like that. Let me move this right next to the building. So obviously this one would go about like that. And then it's probably about like this. So that camera is right there, but it's quite a distance, right? So you would see that there was a car there, and you could probably make out somebody that could be the suspect getting into that vehicle at that point. But it's not worth showing us that because you can't identify him at all because it's from a distance. And then the car drives away. So they know the vehicle. They just want to know who the driver of that vehicle is. Okay. Now some people say, well, do you know if they put those cameras up after? And no, I don't know the answer to that question. I think it's just likely that a business like this has had a surveillance camera on there for a long time. That's what I think. And let me see what he said. They don't know the make and model. Yeah, I've said that many times. Yeah. They just know it's a car. Oh, you're saying that they don't know the I think they do know the make and model. He's just not going to say it, Bill. He's not going to tell. Listen, you guys know how things work in these cases, right? Where somebody mentions something, and then if you said, "Oh yeah, well it's a Volkswagen Rabbit," every single person around would be looking for Volkswagen Rabbits and turning them in. They know what this vehicle was that was parked here. They know exactly what it was. They just want to know who the driver of the vehicle is, and they're not going to tell us what the make and model is. But so that people don't keep asking over and over, they say we don't know. Okay. Anyways, let me get this phone call. 281, you're on the air there. You have to hit the *6. Are you there? Hello. Who's
yes,
that?
this is Slade again.
Oh, yeah. You sounded familiar. I was like, wait, didn't you call before? What's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw I listened to several callers after I called in earlier, and throw this scenario by you. Let's just say that the phone didn't ping by accident, and let's just say that the perpetrator saw the Snapchat pictures on the news or something, and they went back out there to be a part of the search party, and they knew where the bodies were, and they actually found the phone and either powered it up to try to see if there was anything that would implicate them on the phone, and they either threw it in the creek or they threw it off to the side because maybe they didn't have the passcode to get in to look at anything.
Right. Why would they leave it there, though? Why would they even leave it there at all? Why wouldn't you just take it away?
Because I think that the normal thinking would be that most people do not understand.
Well, they think water will
technology.
Destroy it, right?
Yeah, he would not want to take it. Now, what is confusing is maybe she hit it, and maybe she threw it in the altercation, whatever happened, and he didn't see it at first, and he went back out there to find it, and he either threw it in the creek, or he tried to destroy it, or he just left it out there, but he didn't take it with him because he knew it would implicate him because he's that technologically knowledgeable, and I don't think this is this guy's first.
I don't know. I just think there's way too much being made about why the phone pinged it. The people are looking for a way to make it work. It just, to me, it seems really unlikely that the killer himself is why the phone pinged at 2:30.
If you research pinging, and I've got a
I've looked
background
it up. I just don't think it's
and technology. There's no reason on earth why it would. Let's just say that the phone was laying out there that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It would have pinged sometime during that time if it was powered on.
Yeah, but what if it just was very weak and it's way down this slope, so it doesn't have a direct line of sight of any kind? It's just basically beaming through a mountain at that point. But then somehow
there's no evidence to say that it lacked power because she was transmitting a lot of photos earlier.
Yeah, she was doing photos, but let's say the phone was left on, right? And it just kind of sat there for that whole time, and it was just kind of draining, and it just sort of somehow, based on the atmosphere, whatever was going on, it was able to send a ping. Maybe fog came in and made it easier. I don't know the specifics like that, but I just think it's just, people want to, you're trying to find a reason that makes it seem, wow, we got him, yeah, he's the one that turned it on at 2:30. And let's just say he was the one that turned it on at 2:30. Well, maybe it just means that he was watching, he saw that a Snapchat came in, he saw that there was photos taken, and then he got paranoid, and he wanted to see if they had filmed him at all. But that seems like a big risk to take, not seeing yourself on the Snapchat images. Like if you'd seen yourself or something like that, or something that kind of alluded to you, maybe even just those grainy images, he may have easily went out there and done that. Because
you're amongst quite a few people, number one. Number two, don't ever forget this. is that they were found on private property. And I've always found that to be very interesting amongst the park area. Now, that could have been totally by accident because they ran that way.
Yeah.
But I still find that interesting that that's private property. Because,
well, the whole area is private property. Do you know that every single bit of that's private property? The only thing,
I did not know that.
Yeah, the only thing that isn't private property is the bridge. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, the rest
I did
of
not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was just somebody else's
I just wanted to call back. I was just listening to some of the other callers and what they were bringing up about the phone, and I'm like you. I don't think the phone is really all that interesting with regards to the perpetrator, but just some thoughts that if he did go back out there foolishly, that they would be able to possibly ping him on his phone
at the same time.
Law enforcement. Yeah, and I think that's far out, but you never know how stupid people can be when they get desperate and they think they've been found out,
But he would have, if he did have his phone. See, the law enforcement has done the cell phone tower data dump, where they found every single phone that was pinging in the area and tried to identify it and lead back to where, so let's just say the guy is an idiot for going out there, he'd be even more idiotic to bring his cell phone with him at that same time.
He might have had somebody else's phone. He might have had somebody else's phone, and that might have been some of the comments at the press conference.
I don't know. Well, how about this? If he had somebody else's phone, wouldn't they have been able to identify whose phone that was, and then get a hold of that person and say, well, hey, your phone was pinging at 2:30 in the morning down by the crime scene, or down in that area. What was it doing down there? And he goes, I don't know. Hey, maybe it was my roommate. Oh, there we go. I mean, it seems like it would lead back to.
Yeah, and I agree. But if it's a family member, maybe they're covering for a family member because they're just not sure and they're scared. Who knows? I don't know. But I still think it's odd that the phone pinged after not pinging for a long time.
Yeah.
Something happened with the phone, but technology experts would have to come up with a lot of different scenarios. But my background says that the phone was, and hey, maybe I don't want to go there really, but I just think that there's something very odd with that phone pinging after not pinging at all, and also being unanswerable. Especially early that afternoon, there's something to that. I just don't know what. So,
yeah, I mean, it's interesting that it didn't ping one other time until that really late hour at a time where most people would assume nobody's around. So why didn't it ping at 9:30? Let's say. I mean, we can say why. I mean, it could just be that it randomly pinged at 2:30, but it's it's a little interesting that when it finally did ping that one time, it was at an hour just after everybody had left for the night, right? Like everybody left for the night apparently at 1:30, and all of a sudden it pings again at 2:30. Somebody gets back out there. Oh shit! This is the scenario that I brought up earlier. It was that, what if he was out there and he was with the original search party, and he was almost kind of trying to make sure people weren't getting too close-ish, kind of. And then he goes home at about, let's say he left even maybe at midnight or 1 with everybody leaving. He'd probably want to, if he was there, he'd want to stay until the last person left. And then he goes home and he goes on to social media to see what's up, and then he sees that image that she used a phone, and he goes, I don't remember seeing a phone. And then he goes, holy shit. So then he goes back out at 2:30 and he's looking for it. Now, if the phone wasn't found in the water, would you sort of revise your theory though? Like if he just left it on the ground there? Like it'd be kind of weird to look at it and just go, screw it, and leave it right there. Why wouldn't you just take it somewhere, smash it into bits, and throw it, like 50 miles away in a river somewhere?
Because there's been a lot of cases in the last 5 years or so where they tried to do that and it didn't work. He was probably smart enough not to do that. What's an interesting theory or question is that if it was thrown in the water, could it ping from inside the water? I don't know the answer to that question.
No,
I don't know.
it pinged. He turned it on, and while the phone was flying in the air, helicoptering, it sent that last ping out, and it boom.
Yeah.
It died.
I'm not buying that.
You don't want to do like
that.
but that would make the movie so much better.
No.
Right? Just think about it.
Yeah, I'm not into movies. I'm more of the more simplistic explanation, and the more simplistic explanation is that phone did not ping by itself. Somebody did something to it.
Maybe
ping.
A deer was walking out there and it did something to it.
That actually could have happened. That is possible that it was stepped on or something by an animal, but more than likely, that was from it being powered back on. If you research pinging and the technology of cellular, it was turned back on by somebody.
Well, let's say this. Let's say when they found the phone, it just was still in the powered on, I don't know how you would determine that, position, and it just died naturally there, but it didn't ping anymore. Wouldn't that sort of make it seem more like, wow, that's just kind of just had this random moment of connectivity of things aligning in the sky a certain way, and then because what if it just died and it was still sitting on the ground there and it wasn't thrown in the water or anything like that? Like if they can determine that the phone just died and it was sitting there.
Well, you know more information about this than I do, but it pinged at 2:30, right? Well, something caused that ping. So if the girls' bodies weren't found until sometime the next day, then that's probably when the phone was found, and that's when it was messed with again. So if it didn't ping, if it pinged before then that's where the real question is. Because more than likely, it's not just going to ping by itself after sitting on the ground forever. It would have been pinging the whole time.
Right, but let's say they find the phone, and it was on the whole time. But it didn't ping between...
Nobody found the phone at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, but they wouldn't need to find the phone.
You follow me?
Because the phone's already on. The phone... If the phone was pinging and it was on, because it was turned on...
It's not going to retroactively ping.
No, but you turn it on, right? But if it's still on and it's sitting down there, it should have kept pinging. Like, let's say he just threw the phone on the ground. Because if they find the phone on the ground and it's still on in the on position, but now it's dead, then that means it should have been able to send a signal up between 2:30 and noon when maybe the phone was found. Or it might have been found even earlier than that. But
the retroactively pinging doesn't make any sense if it was found the next day, is my point.
What do you mean?
That's where you're kind of losing me.
Well, what do you mean by retroactively pinging?
It pinged at 2:30 that morning.
Yeah.
And the girls were not found until sometime later that day. I think it was the afternoon, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or whatever it was.
Yeah. Noon.
Okay. Well, whatever time it was. But my point is, if the phone was found at that time, it's not going to. The bottom line is, it pinged at 2:30 in the morning.
Right.
After, the perpetrator walked up on them at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, whatever it was. So it being found is not going to retroactively cause a ping. Something caused that ping at 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
Well, listen, but when a phone's on, it continually pings over time. It's not just...
but it didn't. Right. But it didn't from 2 o'clock when they took the last picture.
Right, so what I'm saying is...
time.
So that's what I'm saying, though. So if the phone's still on, and it should have pinged, and it didn't, that means it's very possible that it just wasn't... There was just this one moment of time where it just sort of was able to ping, but where it was when... Let's say they found the phone at, let's just say 10 in the morning. Okay, so that means it was still on, but it hadn't pinged between 2:30 and 10 in the morning. So what that means is the phone does have the ability to not ping where it was, because it just didn't have very good connectivity, but there just was this moment in time where it did get one ping through at 2:30 in the morning. Don't you see what I'm saying? Like, it's on.
I see what you're saying, but knowing the technology, the way that it's known out there, to research it out there, to make a phone ping, there's some kind of activity with that phone. Usually it's turned on and off to make it ping, or reception. Well, if it's laying on the ground, it's not going to get all of a sudden better reception.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not when you say all of a sudden get better reception. So you think when he I'm not
saying what you're saying is totally impossible, but what I'm saying is it's very improbable. The phone's out there on the ground.
Yeah.
It's not going to all of a sudden find the reception enough after 7-8 hours, however long it was, to ping. Something happened with that phone.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
that's my only point. Yeah, that's my only point.
Yeah, I mean,
and you're talking about private property too. I still think that's an interesting, but that is great information that you just brought up. That everything around the bridge is private property. So. Anyway, you got more people calling in. I can hear them. It was a great conversation. I just wanted to kind of throw those thoughts by you.
Yeah, I'm sure my Layla likes it because she wants it really badly to be something nefarious with the phone. But
I'm not even saying that it is. I'm just saying it's a lot to think about and it's a lot to research with regards to the pinging technology, with regards to cellular networks and everything else.
Right. Yeah, we'd have to hear like somebody that really would know what because right now what you just said made Layla go, "See, I told you something had to." No, it doesn't mean that at all. That's just his opinion of it. Everybody. Yeah. His opinion is we don't know if it isn't possible that maybe the weather conditions out there made the signal. You ever notice sometimes when you're driving your car and it's cloudy, foggy, it changes how things work.
Yes.
Transmission and everything. So maybe something like that happened right at the as the phone was dying, it somehow was able. We don't know. Okay, it could be like you're saying that something happened to the phone itself and it pinged, and then it just quit pinging forever after that. But if the phone was found on the ground, you'd wonder why it quit pinging. Was it merely the fact that he just threw it on the ground and then it quit pinging or did he turn it off too? Like he went, he turned it on and then he turned it off. So. That's it just gets kind of, muddled in absolute speculation at that point. I have no idea. But I like your theory. It wasn't too bad.
I appreciate it. Great. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Have a good one. See you. All right. 619. Hello? 619. You have to hit the *6. Layla was so happy. You know what? As a matter of fact, Layla, I think it was Bigfoot. Bigfoot was walking in those woods, stuck his big toe on the on button, and it turned on. *619. You're on.
Cell phones. I have a technology background. I've worked with cell phones since their inception, and it is possible that the phone itself was on. I don't think he went back. I swear I don't, because of what I know.
Right,
we don't know what kind of cell phone she had. We don't know if it was.
Well, we do know the type it was.
Phone.
It was an Apple, I think i6.
No, I mean the carrier. Was it a prepaid phone, or was it one of the big companies, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T? The reason that I know this is because if she had a prepaid phone, they have second rights to a cell phone tower.
It wasn't a prepaid phone, but just explain what your technology is, like what you would. Why you think it could sit there for. I'm just going with what the last caller said, that the phone was there. What was the last caller's name again, by the way? I forgot. I don't know if he said it on the first one or not, but hold on.
I'm not sure, but I think the phone was losing battery, and it was just a fluke that it hit the tower.
Okay, but when you say fluke, see, a lot of times that's not good enough for somebody. It's like, whoa, right. Well, how come it only fluked for that one ping and it didn't fluke for, between all these other hours, between 3:30 and 2:30, not 3:30, even like 2:40 in the afternoon until 2:30 at night. A 12-hour period, it didn't ping once, and then it never pinged again after that, even though they didn't find it till the next day.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. But I feel like that the phone was laying there the whole time, and I think that it had a weak battery, and just happened because a cell phone can be underneath a tower.
Can you hold on for one second?
And it won't.
Can you hold on for one second?
Sure.
Listen, you guys. I don't know why there's people coming in here questioning this 2:30 thing. It was on the HLN specials. Toby Lesenby called the fire department at 2:30 in the morning on the 14th and said, "Hey, we just got a ping from the phone. Can you send some people out there?" Okay? That the whole show is about watching the HLN specials. So if you didn't watch those specials and you're going, "Why is Gray saying that?" Well, then what the hell are you doing here, Now, if you want to be here just because you want to talk about the case and that kind of thing, that's great, but you're sort of questioning things that are being said that are actually on the special. All right. So go ahead. So go ahead about the cell phone again. No,
I just feel like that.
Yes, he did, Levi. You didn't watch it. God, are you the same Levi that was in this case at the very beginning of it? My God. All right. Sorry, go ahead. Hello?
I just know from experience that a cell phone can be underneath a tower, a cell phone tower, and it won't ping off that tower. It'll ping off another one that's maybe got a less of a load on it. The way that we were taught about cell phone towers is they're like a freeway. They have different levels to them, and they route the calls into the tower that's got the least amount of calls going through it.
Yeah. Now that makes sense. Well, let's see. What Levi's saying right there, I can go back and read it, say it again. What he's saying is that at 2:30 in the morning is when Lesenby got the information to then call the fire department. So that sort of changes things. If they did get some ping information, that it pinged down below there. All right, so if you're correct there, Levi, then you're correct. All right, I don't know, though. The way it was worded was that they were already back at home, and he said he got a call at like 2:30. Then he called the fire department. But you could be right. You could be right. So I think that the way he worded it up there it could just been that I misunderstood it. But that's how people have been reporting it too, not just the way I said that. So maybe they're all wrong. We'll have to go back and look at it. But that does make more sense, actually. All right. Oh, did she... Yeah, so that could be similar to like how Carter says. What's weird is when you watch like Xfinity on your computer, you can't take a screenshot of anything. I wonder what they're using for that. It's bizarre. They must have some kind of crazy code that it takes out the whole screen that you're on. You can't do a screenshot of a show that you're watching. Because they had some cool drone footage in the HLN special that I wanted to capture and kind of study it a little bit. The ground. Yeah. So I'll go back and listen to that part. That actually does make some sense. See, listen, I look at if there's something that comes in that I go, oh shit, I was wrong. I don't care, Then it's like, wow, okay, good. Now we've got better information now. It actually takes away the whole argument of the 2:30. Isn't that weird that you can't take a screenshot? It's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Like right now, what you're seeing on the screen is my middle monitor. When I'm watching a show on Xfinity, the screen it's completely dark. You can't see anything. Hey, good night, Claudia Dubauer. All right, I got to get the... Hey, thanks for the last caller, by the way. She had some information on so she's saying that it could just randomly ping. But now it's like, well, Matt, now it's completely moot. The phone could have pinged at 4 o'clock, and that's why Lesenby, finally getting the ping data, then calls the fire department and says, hey, do you guys mind going back out there? We did get a ping out there. Thanks, Claudia Neubauer. And by the way, yes, everybody, we do raise funds on this channel to keep my channel going. Plus, we support charities. Last year, I donate a huge portion, by the way, of all income that comes in through YouTube, either ad revenue, it's all part of the same thing, ad revenue, channel membership, or super chats. And last year we donated $22,000 to crime-related charities. I think it was DNA Doe Project, RAIN, RAINN, and then also NICMEC, and the DNA Doe Project, and then I think Texas EquiSearch. I think we gave $6,000 to them. Would have been more, except their website didn't work, so I'll try to send them some this month. So when you donate to this channel, just realize that a good portion of your donation, of course, YouTube takes their cut out of it, goes to charity, okay, a crime-related charity. And this year we're actually putting a fund together for DNA genealogy on some Jane and John Does out there, or even to solve crimes. Okay, here we go. 707, you're on the air. 707. You have to hit the *6, 707. Hello.
Hello, it's Susanna.
Oh, God.
And I'm going to talk. Okay, no, don't be, oh God, for me, please. And I could have hung up after the last -1 caller. The other thing with cell phones is that the battery, if it gets cold, and cold is about 40 degrees, the battery starts to discharge, and then when it gets almost discharged, it will usually send out a ping. Usually, not always.
Why is that? Just so you know where it is, last gasp, if you will, of the phone?
Yeah, like, how people, the death throes of the phone. That's sometimes. Yeah.
You look down and there's this phone bouncing around, writhing, just that one last time. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that a real thing that you're saying, though? Right?
Yes, it'll do that. Yeah, it'll do that sometimes.
Okay, everybody.
I've experienced it.
Everybody, look that up.
So that's that.
Do phones make the death rattle at the last minute when they just about out of power to give that one last hope to find it? Man, that's almost like artificial technology at that point, isn't it?
Well, I think everything wants to live, I think we've made our technology so it doesn't want to die. And I only know this thing because I lost mine in the middle of the nowhere, and we only found it because of the death ping. Mm-hmm. So there you have it. And so I think that's my contribution. If the story goes on that indeed it was 2:30, and I don't believe it was 2:30 precisely anyway.
Yeah, I think what Levi is saying, I read what he was saying, even after I was like, oh, come on, it did say that. And then I realized what he typed in actually makes more sense, because what HLN often does is they find a way to make it really sensationalistic so that people want to, like, whoa. Okay, but I could definitely see, I'm going to go watch that part again, and I have a feeling that I'm going to go, oh, shit. I should have probably caught it the first time. But to be honest with you, I wasn't able to completely focus in on it, because the first time I watched it, I was trying to get ready to do the show from my hotel, but I'd never done that before, so I was trying to set up all this crazy crap. And then today I watched it during the Blazer game, which was a crazy game.
Well, that
so
was divided
I just
attention,
saw the
wasn't it?
part, but I didn't focus in on every single word that they said. But I could definitely see him saying something like, yeah, so at 2:30 I got information about a phone ping, and then I called the fire department. And that's a totally different thing. That means that when he finally got home from searching, somebody said, hey, you know, we got some ping information. Hey, at 3 o'clock it pinged right down there near, you know, so boom. It's just, and then he calls the fire department to go back out and search because now they have definite information that the phone pinged down there. Now I'm going to go back and listen to it to make sure that that's what was being said.
Yeah.
That's right, Jennifer.
Yeah,
Ping pong.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the cold also the battery discharges more quickly. You know, that's why people kind of sometimes keep them in their clothing, you know, because it will discharge. The battery will last longer.
Yeah. Hey, thanks Nona and Wally Gator and Claudia Neubauer up there. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to see that on videotape. It almost looked like a jumping bean, I would imagine. You know?
Yeah. Well, especially if you have the thing on vibrate.
Oh yeah. Oh man. It was on vibrate and it died down, right? And then it does that one last attempt and it goes way all over the. Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, I don't think the time is a ping or the no ping makes any difference whatsoever. And that's what I want to say. And the guy wasn't limping. So anyway, I'm glad you're team one, and I'm glad you're not freezing to death. And take care of yourself.
Yeah, I don't recommend sleeping in a house that's 40 degrees. It's not fun. Okay.
No, I slept in a tent with the 40 degrees.
Yeah.
I was going to also say one other thing, and it just blew my memory right through, as it usually does. So bye-bye.
All right. Well, hey. Have a good, thanks for calling in, Susanna. Wow, she said goodbye so fast. That was like right in the middle of a sentence. And it was just like this thing, goodbye. All right. All right, 805, you're on. $805, you have to hit the *6, please. 805. 805, please answer the phone. Going once, twice. I probably won't be answering the one that says call in user 1. Okay? If it's not a phone number, I don't answer it. So you'll have to call back with a different, do it differently. Anyways, 805, you're on?
I just figured out how to unmute myself.
All right, yeah.
I watched this back when it happened in 2017 from Temecula, and just had such a curiosity about all of this. And I've tuned into your program, and I find it incredibly interesting. And I just wanted to see if this passcode actually worked. And I took a screenshot, and I have a lot of information that I'd like to explore before I come back on the next time.
Oh, you just want to see if it worked?
Well, one, I moved from California to Chicago, so I'm much closer to Delphi than I was before. So now, and I have a little girl, so now I'm suddenly much more interested in, and I didn't know until I watched the HLN video today how rural it was until I moved out here from California, and it's stunning.
Well, it's rural, but it's not isolated. I mean, there's houses all around. They made it sound like it was 80 miles from any known human location, but there's literally houses all around the property where they were found, but it's definitely, you know, it's like a park area. It's nowhere near as isolated as people make it sound, though.
And it's interesting how information has changed over time. So really, I think I've gotten little tidbits of it as I work as a nurse. So I've gone from nights to days, so I only have to pick up what I can driving to and from work, and then obviously through YouTube. I'm actually watching your channel right now. Now, I'd have to go back and listen to the whole HLN series, but I remember at the time they had searched a farm nearby. Did they cover that today?
Well, they searched a house that was, I think, almost on the first night with a search warrant. Pretty close to the first night. I don't remember the exact
Would that be
details
the
of-
same person who owns the property?
I don't think so. It was just somewhere in town. I think they were probably looking at people that had.
It was actually a farm really close by. I'm sorry, I only because I'm remembering.
Oh, you mean like Ron Logan's property? Yeah. Well, that's his property that it was found on. They did look at his property. They towed away his truck. They had him in jail, and then he's not the suspect. So he's basically been cleared since then. He's like 70 years old. They say the suspect's between 18 and 40, which is kind of a big range. But.
Well, I don't want to waste anybody's time. I'm just watching and listening and learning.
Yeah, well, you should go back and watch. Basically, you should go back and watch it's called Flow 3. So type in Gray Hughes Flow 3 video, and probably a good one would be is from about, I think it was the 13th. On the 13th, about 3 days ago, I made a video earlier in the day called As It Happened, and I play the Flow 3. I play the drive from Libby's house to the bridge. Then I show the walk from the bridge all the way across the bridge, and while they're walking across the bridge, I show all the locations of the photographs, and then it gets to the other end, and then it shows the location of where the suspect was filmed. And then I show the animation that I created on the bridge showing those same locations again and how it probably went down. And Becky's even said it's pretty accurate. I mean, she says, oh, yeah, watch Gray's video. That's what it looked like. And then after... Yeah. So you got to... That's the thing is, for some reason, some of the big, HLNs, they probably just don't like me because I'm never really... I don't talk about them like they're the greatest thing in the world. I see that they do a lot of sensationalistic stuff, so a lot of the companies probably don't like me that much. But I just do my own thing. I call out the crap. Like for example, who's that? I forgot the name of it. Like Inside Edition. Like they put something out and they just go, "Oh, is that the suspect behind the girls?" And it had been debunked 2 years before that, or a year before that. Those were just barriers.
Bitch, please.
Whoa, what the heck happened? What? That's my sound effect. My coffee cup hit my sound effect. Here, I'll do it again.
Bitch, please.
And then here's the, let me do Chewbacca for everybody. All right, there we go. Yeah.
Chewbacca?
That was funny though, but I wasn't. I thought somebody snuck in on my system and said it in my ear. Those are sound effects for lighter times. My coffee cup hit it though. But yeah, they were saying that there was two people at the end of the bridge in the but they were barriers to keep cars or something from driving off the end of the bridge. So this was all known, but they still said it because they wanted people to go, "Ooh, wow, that's so neat." I hate that stuff. Just say the facts and steer everybody into the, I mean, I don't know if steering's the right word, but the truth is what should steer people, not sensationalism. Right?
Completely agreed.
There you go. Well, you live near there. You should go drive out there and check it out.
It's scary. I went from California, which was thousands of miles away, to being so close. So now there's a renewed sense of interest.
Yeah, cool. Well, check it out. But definitely I would watch the one called As It Happened on the 13th. It goes through it's only an hour long, and it goes through, you don't even have to watch the first, I would just say the first 30 minutes.
I'm going to go do it right now. I'm a night nurse, so I'll be up for now. My sleep schedule's all off, so I watch a lot of it. So
well, thanks
I will
for
be
your
a new
service.
Subscriber.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
For your new subscriber, you should send me an email with your address. I'll send you a mug that has a heart on it, that has a freak heart, that is for the nurses who have been serving during this crazy time.
So well, a U.S. Navy nurse. So
well, that's even better.
I will be.
You serve this
I'll
twice.
be a subscriber tonight.
All right, cool. All right, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for serving. Very cool. Very cool. Well, no, I have the nurses send me their address because I send them a mug with a heart on it, with a freak on it. I'm not saying, hey, send me your well, for those of you who've been around, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, forget it. So I don't know who this, hold on a second. I don't know who this call-in user, I usually don't even answer if they don't have a phone number on it. So go ahead. I'll probably hang up if it doesn't sound right off the bat. You got 10 seconds. Who is this? Calling. Who? Oh yeah, what's going on, Lou?
You said there was almost like some kind of a message or some almost like meticulously had them laid out or something. Do you have any understanding or knowledge about what they meant by that?
Well, I've seen there's messages sent out. I think they were text messages by one of, I think, Anna's husband or ex-husband's brothers or something like that. And he put information like that in there about how they were placed on the ground and who was covered with certain materials, and he even talked about how each one of them was killed in those text messages, and he apparently was one of the people that found them. So what he put in those messages has a pretty decent likelihood that it was accurate. And the flow videos that you asked me about before I made it so they could hear you was those were I think starting back in February 22nd of 2017. I made my first one, and I don't even think that's called flow anything, but that's what it said in the videos, like the flow of the crime. And then there was a second one that I made, and then the third one was really accurate in all the positions of the 2 Snapchat images, and then the video at the end of the bridge, exactly where that was. The first 2 were just kind of speculating based on what I could see in the backgrounds, but then I had somebody go out there with a video camera, and while they were on the phone, I'd say, nope, right there, right there, oh, right there. And we'd found like the exact little vine on one of the railroad ties that matched the image, and then boom, we had that spot and another spot. So we put it all together. It's just putting the factual information together. I'm not sure if that stuff actually helps find the killer. It just sort of puts together the story of what happened, and that helps.
Right.
So
I think anything you produce is quality work, obviously, and it does a good job of just painting a picture instead of somebody trying to verbally hear something. It's better to visually see something. The reason why I was asking you, though, about the fact that it sounds like you were basically saying, yes, this guy kind of took the time to lay them out a certain way, did this and that. And the reason why I asked is you guys were talking about the phones earlier, and in some ways I'm really surprised he didn't take their phones. I've never heard about Abby's phone. I've heard that he took.
She didn't have one. She didn't have one. It was just Libby had a phone.
Well, I'm almost shocked in some ways with him being kind of detail oriented that he didn't take her phone. I wonder if that further makes it think that it was some type of spontaneous crime, because Eddie, I have 3 daughters, so I always tell them if they're about to be captured, please hide your phone. That's the only chance I ever have of finding you. So I'm just kind of surprised he didn't even think to try to look for a phone while he was kind of.
Well, here's the thing: is I don't think he knew that she had one. See, the thing is when she filmed the suspect, she had the phone really low by her side and then kind of slipped it in her pocket. And it filmed darkness, but you could still hear something. We don't know how long that part is. But as he was coming closer, you could only see the ground, apparently, and feet, and how Abby actually hustled off the bridge and got behind Libby, and then he comes by, hey, guys, and then says, get down the hill. So that's all, you can see that you can see some of that on the phone, but it's not showing faces or anything. And so it could have been he just didn't see it, and that kind of it would explain it, right? Like he just never saw it. He was kind of looking, because when he's walking across the bridge, he's looking down trying to make sure he doesn't step in one of those huge gaps between the railroad ties. So he probably wasn't totally aware of what was going on in front of him. He just knew that they were right there, and she probably filmed him clandestinely and put it in her pocket. Now, what I would say with your kids, if you got somebody coming right at them like that, something that we've been talking about on here, something that might work even better would be if your kid pretended at that moment that they were actually doing a live shoot. Like, hey, say hi, look at, oh yeah, like they're doing a Snapchat video.
Yep.
Because then that person would think, oh shit, my face is on here, and just have to walk on by, right? Now, if they put it in their pocket, you might, it might turn out tragically, but you'd find the phone at some point.
Yeah, no, listen, that's I couldn't agree with you more. On like a Facebook live stream or something like that. That way this guy knows that he's being put on camera clearly. It kind of surprised me, though, with her having, I believe it was an iPhone 6 is my understanding. It's been quite a while since I've had an iPhone 6. That's six generations ago. I'm on a 12 now. But for her to be able to film him, and it didn't look like it was swaying too much, and I don't think that phone had optical zoom, and the digital zoom was never really that good.
Yeah.
I'm almost surprised. Almost surprised he didn't notice that she was filming him.
Well, here's the thing: is it's not really. They just did that. They took. There was only a 2-second portion of video that they were able to. They put them all and stabilized it. So it wasn't stable at all. That's why some of the frames are pretty blurry and everything. So they put it all together, and I think it was shot in like 720p, which isn't really that great compared to the stuff now, right? And then it was also filmed at he was about 60 feet away, which is pretty far away, and he was really small in the image. Right, so he's small, and Abby's still in there, and all they do is they cropped out where he was. Only that's why he's not clear at all. And so because if you're using 720 and you're a small part of the image, and then you crop that out and then zoom in so people can see it bigger, it's very blurry. That's why there's no detail at all in the face of any kind. And so. She got his audio and she got a 2-second video, and you'd think that would have made a difference. I think it's a great point by you, Gray, for someone new like me who's complaining about the picture quality. Just the fact that they had to take her 60-foot range, and they were able to even make it as good as it is. Sure, we would like it to be better, but they actually did a pretty good job. If it was 60 feet away there on an iPhone 6 of giving us some kind of resemblance of this guy. So that's very informative there. That they edited it and kind of Photoshop or whatever, cropped it to make it to what it is. I didn't know that, but Gray, like I said, what are we 4 years into this? It sounds like it's frustrating. I listened to one of the sheriff's press conferences today, and he sounded very confident at the beginning, saying this guy could be in the room. We may have interviewed you. Looking back at that, I think he maybe was bluffing a little bit to try to draw somebody out to make a wrong move, but it's just hard to believe. 4 years, 4 years later, man. 4 years later, and it's crazy.
Still, kind of on day one.
No, it's just nuts. Just seems like Libby did what she could, and I think that's what really frustrates the police. I know it did Robert Ives. He said. Yeah, it's just, I never saw this coming. We had the audio. We have a video of the guy. There's a lot of information at the crime scene, but we just haven't been able to solve it. So it's really frustrating for them.
With you sort of being an expert, I don't know if this is your profession or, kind of a side thing, but I find you to be an expert. If there was like just something out there that you could ask the police, or if there's just something, you know what I mean? Like, is there anything you've ever thought, man, really like to know this, or why aren't you guys releasing this 4 years later? I understand they got to tie everything to get together to get a conviction, but I don't know. 4 years later, I feel like we need new eyes on this case, or just a different direction.
Well, I think I would ask, why did listen? I don't know if I'm not I don't have a degree as being an expert or anything. I would just say that I've done some animations for criminal court hearings, like recreations of crime. I've helped law enforcement out on a couple of occasions, even in this case, at the very beginning. And I've covered so many cases that I feel like I have a pretty good perception of what's going on without having the actual piece of paper degree, So that's how I can say it. But I have worked with law enforcement on videos.
Okay.
So let's see. And what I would want to know is what the DNA they have, why haven't they been able to use it in forensic genealogy to, I guess that wouldn't be helpful, but it'd be an answer to why that hasn't worked, because they say they have a DNA profile, and obviously they haven't found out whose DNA it is, or they wouldn't still be talking about it. So that means they're pretty confident that the DNA and the fingerprints that they did find are related to the suspect. So why haven't they been able to, using forensic genealogy, which I'm sure they've used, why that hasn't led to anybody? And just to get that answer, and then that might answer the question of why they haven't solved the case, because that's really, forensic genealogy is a huge deal now, and it just dramatically changed how cases are solved and how quickly.
Yeah, I don't know much about that myself, but I can understand from a forensic standpoint what you mean, and just definitely wanted to get your input. 4 years will turn into 5 will turn into 10, and I'm trying to be very sensitive towards her family. I think you had her sister on the other night. That's where I kind of learned about this, and I don't know, man. At some point, somebody's got to press somebody to make a move here. I don't know. I guess I just hate for the years to keep going on, and appreciate everything you do, Gray, and I'll keep watching your show.
Okay, cool. In a minute here, I'll show you something on the screen. So if you after you hang up, I'll show it to you of an actual video taken from the exact same spot that one of my friends did for me, and there's even a person walking there, and you'll be able to see what it probably looked like. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Greg.
All right. Thank you. All right. Bye. Thank you, Keller. Hey, thanks, Sarah M. So hold on one second. I'm going to load this puppy in. Oh, shoot. It changed the... darn it. God. Oh, wait. I think I need to go to the sequence settings and change it to, there he goes, 1. That one maybe? No, hold on. Might take a second. There we go. Okay. Now they're not squished. Okay, so this is taken off the end of the bridge here. I do have a call here. Let me get this first and I'll get back to this. All right, 707. I knew it. I knew it.
You wasn't me, yeah?
I knew it was you.
got to be remembering my spoofed number.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What's going on?
The thing I was going to also quickly mention is, we've been talking, and I've been one of them, about the killer having a lot of blood on his person.
Yeah.
Because he slit the girl's throat.
Now, that's what we heard.
I just went back to double check my opinion. And even if you do the artery, it's saying it won't go much higher than the victim's head. So that could very well be that the bloke might just have a bit of blood.
But you could, but also if you did them when they're face down, you wouldn't have much on you. Yeah.
hard to slit the threads from the
back.
So.
Like if you did it from the back, you wouldn't have much on you. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that's what. Yeah, that's what I was calling to say. Is I was going down the. Well, does a guy change his his shirt or something because it has blood on it? And now really could be he doesn't really have blood on it. So it's another thing to think of. And that's what I called about.
Well, there you go. Well, thanks. Wow,
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
got little nuggets here and there, just.
Oh yeah, and I am concerned and upset almost that those dogs are called off the
Yeah.
search dogs.
Yeah, I knew that would
that
upset
would-
you.
Yeah, it annoys me greatly.
Yeah.
But it can't be undone. So I'm going to go back and finish my Brazilian fruit salad and play with my boy.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Thanks for calling in. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, here we go. So this is what it might have looked like. Not quite like this though. All right, but this video, the only way this could get even better is if it was to the left about 2.5 feet and the camera slightly lower than that. Okay, but the person filming this is off the end of the bridge. They just have I think this is Beth actually that filmed this. And this lady over here is Bonnie. She's acting as the bridge guy, okay? So as she's walking, now let me show you guys something here. So if you zoom in like this, it's already getting pretty blurry. But see that little white thing right there? We always called that the white nodule. But that's actually just part of the side rail here where it's really damaged. Okay, but you can only see it if you're down low and pretty much off the end of the bridge. If you're on platform 3, you can't see that. Or 6, I mean. If you're on platform 6, you can't see that. So I'm going to show you I'll show you where the suspect is soon. Let's see. I think she cuts off. She's not even there yet. Right in this area is where the suspect is. And it's actually past this platform. So she's still way out there, even though she looks mildly close, right? I mean, is this something you guys are interested in looking at here? Because this is exactly the shot. Let me show you a still frame. Just a random still frame. See right there, that little white area? That's what this is right there. And then there, like you can even see it if I put it about like that. There's the platform, the fork tree, platform, fork tree, and the little white nodule right there, and it's right there next to his foot. This one, you can see it again right there. All right, so let me import another one of these videos in. Yeah, this might be the better one. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is it. So this is way too far off to the right. Should be about, like I said, about 3 feet to the left of here, looking almost straight down. Even though it doesn't look like that in the video, it is the way it is. Alright, so now I'm going to zoom in so you can see this better. And what's kind of interesting, if you look at some of these images right here, watch this. See that spot right there? Now if I could rotate this slightly, it doesn't seem like I can in this program. Here's what I'll do. Let me do this. I'm going to put it in here. And then I'll put it on the screen with her. Then you can actually see it. Oh, that's crazy. Look at that. Alright. Alright, so there's the fork tree right there. He needs to be a little bit bigger. About like that. And then rotate it. Maybe about like that. Then move it up and over. And now we're sort of in a place where it's almost in the right spot. I made a whole video that looked like that. Alright, so it's kind of like in that area, but let me just rotate him more like this for now. And then I'm just going to move them over to the side. Now, it's like tree ring dating. You see these lines right there? That line and this one? That's right there. See that? How it goes up and then down? That's this right there. And then even behind it, see that? There's that line there and that one. Now, the reason it's narrower there is because the camera is supposed to be lower on the bridge, which narrows the look of the lines there. But this area right here is right there. Do you guys see what I'm looking at? You guys see that? I just want to make sure you're seeing what I'm looking at. Because there's people that aren't paying attention, and then they'll always say, oh, well, I didn't know. Well, you would have known if you were paying attention. All right, so I'm going to move it over. And so it's right around in that area, but it's just a totally different angle. This needed to be over slightly 3 feet and then down, and then it would have all been perfect. But see right there, there's the white nodule, and there's the white nodule. All right, so now I'm going to have her walk. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to have her walk until she gets to that spot. So it's about right here. Now, the problem is, let me show you. In his image, he's about 2 feet away from the side rail. Plus, like I said, the camera's 3 feet to the left and down. But when she's walking, I wasn't there to be able to say, oh, wait, hey, you need to, okay, that's what I would have done, though. But she's walking right next to the side rail. So when she gets to this position, right around in this area, you'd have to take her and slide her over to here. Then the white nodule would be to the right of her foot, okay? And so this area right here is about, yeah, so he's right on that line. So basically you got to keep her moving even. And if you'd move the camera to the left, again, 3 feet, it would look totally different. So right there, that's about where the bridge guy is, okay? Now, if we're going to move it back out now, I'm going to zoom it out, and I'll show you what it looked like that the police had. Watch this. So this is basically what the police had, right there. You see what I'm looking at? So the camera's over to the left 3 feet, down lower, and it could have even been rotated to the left more, and you'd see Abby walking on the bridge. You'd see all this stuff, but that's where the bridge guy was. Okay, but that picture right there is actually past, she at this point is past platform 6 right there. Only about 65 feet away. All right, so you guys see the difference, what you get on this channel? Like, we literally do it like you're supposed to be doing it. Not the, oh, well, it's over here somewhere. And I want you guys to see the exact information. All right. All right. So I'm going to unmute the 6141. I think that's Robin. Right. So I'll zoom in again so you can just see.
Hi, Gray.
How's it going?
It's Robin calling here from Australia. How are you?
Good eye, mate. No, yeah, pretty good.
Nice to speak to you. It's been a while. Happy New Year.
Yeah,
a bit late.
Happy New Year.
Okay, as you know, I've always got a couple of questions for you on the Delphi. My first question is about the entire investigation with reference to this particular case. I'm really interested to know why the police are withholding all of this information when, and you know, obviously they do that a lot of the time because they don't want false confessions, you know, so they can eliminate. But why would they need that if they've got DNA? Because if someone phones up and they, you know, say I did it and it's a false confession and they have read the newspaper with all the details that have come out, surely if they've got DNA, they could just say, okay, well, give me your DNA. All right, that's not him.
Yeah. I don't think they.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it seems like they've been able to. They should be able to rule a lot of people out because if they have DNA, they should be going around and comparing it to suspects. Like, for example, if they have this really good DNA profile, and they have somebody that they have been following this whole time, well, wouldn't they just be able to rule out the guy, like, in 2 minutes? You know, just, oh, wait, well, we don't have, you know, the DNA profile that we have that we can't match to anybody else, well, it doesn't match that guy either. You know?
Yeah, but I just don't understand why it's so secret about, you know, information that they're withholding about, you know, the bridge guy, you know, and they use that sort of premise of saying, you know, because we want to keep this because only the killer knows what this information is. And yet, if they did release it, with all of the media coverage and the general public and, you know, the work that you do and all of the other people that live in Delphi, it may actually advance the investigation forward. And if they've got DNA, which we believe they do have DNA, then they could actually just use that as the litmus and say, oh yeah, this guy Mike who said he did it and whatever, it's not him because it's not his DNA. And I just get rid of any false confessions whatsoever. So I just find it strange that they're withholding information about, because we're sort of at a standstill, and I just think that law enforcement hold the keys to how this investigation can go any further.
Yeah, yeah, but the thing is, like these screenshots that were released, though, that talk about what happened at the crime scene by one of the people who found the girls. I've had that for 4 years, but I didn't put it out there because, you know, law enforcement wants... So here's what law enforcement... They're not necessarily looking for the killer to say, oh, it's me, and look I'll let you know because I know all the details. They're probably looking for somebody that was at a bar at night sometime, and somebody goes, you know, this guy told me this, and then goes into the police and tells them details that only the killer would have known. So at this, but if it's out there, even now with this stupid screenshots being released, there's enough for somebody to say something, and they're not going to know now that person heard a legit story at a bar. Now it's going to be, oh, that person could have heard it too and pretended he did it to that person. They, of course, they look into him at that point, but it's just, you know, now you're not sure because people know. I just think that strategy of withholding information, and the longer it goes on, the less chance there is of anybody actually remembering anything. I think about we talk about the Amy Mihaljevic case, and we also talk about Asher Degree case. In Asher Degree, for instance, they released the car that they were looking for 16 years later. Yeah, it's and they didn't say. Yeah. I mean, and to ask people to remember anything, you know, 16 years later. It's just, 16 years ago. I mean, if someone asked me what I was doing 16 years ago, I'd probably say the only thing I can remember is I was sleeping. Yeah. And I was working. You know. Well, like the 2 year, just saying, oh, hey, there was a car parked at the abandoned CPS building. Well, I mean, that was 2 years ago. What if you had told people, hey, there was a car parked there? Oh, yeah, you know what? I remember driving. 2 years later, you're not going to go, oh, yeah, I remember that car. Nobody's even thinking about it. But it might have spurred your memory at the time, even if it wasn't something that you necessarily needed to remember, right? Because there's no reason for anybody to remember anything that day until after something happened. See? Yeah, exactly. And I think obviously it's very, very, I mean, because, you know, as we just go through life, you know, we go for a walk or we park a car or we drive down the street, you know, you never really remember anything until, you know, obviously something happens, and then you're sort of backing your brain to try and think, well, I was there, you know, like what? Oh, there was a car, you know, those type of things. But as time goes on, I just think that law enforcement strategy of withholding information is actually becoming now more detrimental than actually helping the case, because obviously what they've released so far hasn't, given a desired result, you know, in any way, shape or form, especially, you know, with all of the confusion about the sketches
that's happened over time, where the people who know about the case have had to explain over and over and over again about the sketches. Which one is it, and is it this one should I be looking at, or is it that one? My second point is, or my second question is, and this is just a theory. It sort of seems that obviously
so it's not
this
really
guy
a question,
planned this.
It's not really a question, then, right?
Well, it's more. I'm actually putting this out there for you to actually theorize about it.
Okay.
But it's probably pretty well known that this person obviously had a plan of action that day and what have you. I'm just wondering a couple of things. When they left the crime scene, do you think that there's a couple of things here. Do you think that blue jacket was completely removed? So when they left the crime scene, that they looked different in their attire, because
that'd be smart.
If you see that, as part of the plan. And secondly, I know this is going to sound really out there, but do you think the reason why they're wearing a cap is because they're bald?
No, I just think like hats and glasses make you less identifiable.
Right.
That's what.
Yeah.
They even say that you just put a pair of glasses on and a hat, and now people have no idea what you look like. Really?
Yeah. Okay.
But he might have been like at the. Let's see. Like he. Well, here's the thing: is if he thought nobody'd seen him at all.
Yeah.
Then he might not take the jacket off. But if there was somebody that saw him prior, and he knew that they were still alive out there, I could see him taking the jacket off on the other side to then walk around back on the trails, and then nobody would have recognized him as he walked back to his vehicle, or they wouldn't know to associate it necessarily with the person that was seen earlier. It would be confusing.
Yeah.
It confuses people. And maybe he took his hat off and everything. Who knows?
What was the temperature that day?
Well, that's what I was going to show everybody. See, all these shows always say 50 degrees, and maybe it was really warm and sunny. But I actually, before the show tonight, it's almost like you queued me up. I got these.
The only thing that we can go by is from what we see.
Well, no, I can go by this.
The only way that I could.
I can go by this because I have it on my screen. You go to February. Let's see, February 13th, 2017, and the temperature as a high that day was 45 degrees, and it was even at 6 a.m. it was 37. At noon it was between 41 and 45, and you're getting close to that time, and then it was 37 at 6 p.m. So it wasn't a warm day. It was in the low 40s. It was cold, very cold, but the sun, as we all remember when we were kids, makes you feel like it's warm, but it definitely wasn't warm. But however, if you look at the days as they go on, I think a lot of people conflate dates. So the next day the high was 50, so that is a 50-degree day on the 14th, but not the day that they went out there. And so then as you go through the week, believe it or not, on Friday, the 17th of February, it was 64 degrees. And yes, now it is ridiculously warm for February because right now it's like 19 degrees over there at the same time of the year. So it was warmer than usual, but 41 degrees and 45 isn't that warm. So the guy was wearing what most people would be wearing at that time.
Okay, so he didn't look abnormal when he was walking around high.
And it was windy too, so the wind chill was probably even lower than that. It was like 12 miles an hour.
Now my last question, Gray, is, because I know you've probably got other callers, is let's just then, I don't know if we can say it for definite, but let's just say they have DNA. And obviously the best route to narrow down who this person is would be through, obviously, listening to Colleen and yourself, is through the genealogy research. Do we know that either one, they've started to do that on this particular case, and secondly, if they have, when that was, and how long does it take from, say, okay, I've got DNA, I'm going to put it into the database now, and then, work out a family tree if I can find that. What's the sort of start, the average time that it takes to identify somebody through the whole genealogy analysis?
Well, Colleen told us one time it took them 8 hours to do one, and then sometimes it takes months. So it's like we don't really know. I think there was another snag other than that, though. I think it could be that when, this is just an opinion, but when they were doing genealogy and when they put the DNA in the system, they came back with like fifth cousins, right? That means like everybody's family doesn't load stuff up to GEDmatch and Ancestry.com and all these kind of things. So he might be from a family member, a large family unit, huge, large tree that just hasn't done any genealogy, and maybe they came up with fifth cousins, and at that point it's just, we're almost all fifth cousins, right?
Yeah. If they've actually done this though, they've actually started to undertake this work, and there are no hits or nothing coming back. Wouldn't that imply that the actual person then comes from a family that's very small and doesn't have brothers and sisters and cousins?
No, that just means that I think it implies, it could imply that, but it could also imply that just nobody in their family, because there's only 1 million samples at GEDmatch.
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't have a few people in there, then you're not going to show up there. You're going to have like fifth cousins, really deep. They go. They measure it by centimorgans.
So it has to have that first hit initially, because I did my family tree all the way back to 1750, and it's all mapped out. And
but that's on using Ancestry, like one of those big sites, right? Or do you do it by yourself?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was used at Ancestry.com.
Yeah, there's like 20 million people in there, right? There's like 20 million people in there.
Yeah, and one of the things I realized when I did that was that the accessibility then to all of those records, like the birth certificates and so on, is really where, the work really starts to happen. But if you don't have that first hit, then you really are,
You know what a really good source is, too, is like once you get a name, you start doing in the newspapers.com, you find the obituary section, survived by, and that lets you build out a whole bunch of the tree there. So they use that quite a bit. But the thing is see, that's using those huge sites like 23andMe and whatnot. But the site that they're able to use only has 1 million people in it. We need to get that a lot bigger. I actually, that's why I keep saying that I think all criminals that have to put their DNA into CODIS should also be required to upload their genetics to genealogy information to GEDmatch. So there would be millions, way more, like 2 million people in there, 5 million, however many criminals there are out there. And then it would be a huge database. And also, crime is associated with families. Sometimes there's just.
It is the way forward in solving crimes, as we've seen, and you almost feel like there should be some kind of movement that the CODIS database, which has all of the criminals' DNA in it, actually then gets exported into Ancestry or one of these genealogy sites, obviously with privacy and all of those things, so that it then allows that second arm of the law, the genealogists, to then go, hang on a second, look, we've got 100,000 new DNA profiles here of all the criminals, and then that would extend out into their families, because, even if it just solves one crime, it's better than something remaining cold. If there's something that could happen in this case now, Gray, that you would like to see, what do you think that would be?
I would like to have them release any other audio of the suspect and the full video up until down the hill, if that's where the video stopped. I don't think we necessarily, need to see any video if there was anything being done, I don't think they have anything like that, or they'd be able to identify. I think the phone was put in her pocket, and there might be more audio. And even if it's disturbing, maybe you can edit out what the girls replied with.
Yeah.
But anything he said, I don't give a damn what it was, that might be just enough for one person to be able to hear it and go, oh, God, okay. I heard the other ones. I wasn't sure, but, man, that's exactly how he said that. That's if they have
it.
But it sounds like...
that's if they have it.
Let's see. Robert Ives, he said that he thinks that they do have information that they should release. So you sort of wonder what that is. You know, I'd love to know what that is.
Well, that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. It would be interesting to know that, and I think it would also be interesting to know if a gun was used, and if that gun actually was the weapon that actually, ultimately killed.
I don't think
killed the girls.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about a gun ever being used as the weapon that killed them. I think a gun was used. I don't know if you listened to last night's show, but I have this channel a Facebook page where I was reading off the description of what Anna told somebody about what was on the video. So she explained the whole thing, and there was more information. Like at one point, I think Abby says, "Does he have a gun? Is that a gun?" Like that, and then they said, "Is he still behind us?" And then they were at the end of the bridge while he was still making up that 60 feet distance, and they were trying to figure out which way to go.
Yeah.
And
interesting. It's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And I believe that because a lot of the other stuff that was in there that I know of was fact. So
what's the maximum, based on all of your research and the work that you've done, what's the maximum length of time you believe he could have stayed actually at the crime scene before he had to head off?
Yeah, well, I think he was there till, I think maybe at the crime scene itself 3:30, and in the area till maybe 3:45, and that means Derrick was there for a half hour searching while the suspect is still meandering around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the actual from the point of time of when he says down the hill to the point of time when he goes up the hill by himself and gets the hell out of there, we're looking at what, 30 minutes?
Yeah, that's one of the things. Well, no, I think it was a lot longer. So whatever he was doing, we don't know. But, well, I guess here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's what I would love to have as a piece of information. This is one of the things that I've always wanted to have. What was the time code on the video of the bridge guy? And I hate calling him bridge guy. So the suspect. But it's I want the bridge guy, the BG, everything like that. I almost want to start timing people out if you use the BG in your comments, because it's just the bridge guy.
We can use barbarian.
Yeah, barbarian. Just anything else.
Psycho.
It's just
sociopath.
I mean, doesn't that just sound so tame to you?
Yeah. So,
like, the
if
guy.
we had the timestamp, then we would be able to even narrow it down even more.
Yeah, like if you had the timestamp, my opinion is the timestamp would show that it was between, because it did match when I did the sunlight deal. I think it was like between 2:20 and 2:30 type, that time frame.
Yeah.
And then it would only take 10 minutes or so. I would even say 10:15 to 10:30. They were already on the other side of the creek. Not 10:15.
Yeah,
I think 10:15 would be when is the earliest time he would have caught up to him and set down the hill.
Yeah.
And it maybe take 10 or 15 minutes to get across the creek. But here's the thing is, if you think about it, what if he was assaulting them back in that corner that I was talking about for a while, or trying to anyways?
Yeah.
And so maybe that was 10, 15 minutes there. Then they went across, and then he killed him. But then what's strange is, man, there's a lot of time. That's just sort of like, what was he doing during that time?
Well, it just,
that's
hour.
We
don't know. we don't know exactly what type of signature he left.
Yeah,
because the detective said there was a signature, and I mean that could be lots of different things.
Yeah, and he was spending time doing the signatures, right? Whatever those are, those take time. They're not like, oh, here I've got a stamp that I bought.
Yeah,
it's literally something.
Yeah.
So if it was like 3:30 or 2:30 that they were made to go down the hill, then that means an hour later he's still there, and then he's leaving. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Because apparently they weren't sexually assaulted, maybe. That's what I read in those same things, that they weren't sexually assaulted. Strange.
Yeah. I'm going to let somebody else hop on the phone now. Brilliant to talk to you again, Gray. I'm still in that corner of saying this particular person has tried this before and maybe got away with it before or failed.
Yeah.
So, because I just don't think that it's just something you wake up on a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning and go, you know what? I've just lost my children in my divorce or custody. I'm going to go out and kill children. I just think that something, this particular person, because it's so planned, and
I think he's a serial killer, serial killer type person. Whether he's got the requisite number of kills, we don't know, but he could be like the John Miller in the April Tinsley case. I think of him as a serial killer, even though he only killed one person, because he acted just like it, taunting police, doing all those things. And we don't know if he killed anybody else, but the profile even said he may have only killed one. So, and he seemed to know why he was being arrested. But they're not serial killers, but they're serial killer types. They literally are just like them. They just didn't keep committing the requisite.
And to kill two people on your first kill. I mean, if it was driving around in, say, Nebraska in your car, and there was a couple of hitchhikers in the 70s and no cameras and God knows what, you could pretty much get away with anything in those days, in the age of the serial killer, because as your cold cases show, like, there's hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of bodies out there, which have, obviously ended up being picked up or killed by a serial killer. I think that this barbarian, to kill two, I just think it's unfortunate there was two people. I think if there was one girl there, he would have done the same thing. But it just shows a level of calmness that you just don't have if that's the first time that you've ever done it.
He could have escalated up there. Like, he's tried it a few times. It kind of just didn't really work out. Gave up on it, but then he really thought this one through, and he finally sort of achieved the final goal that he had. And then maybe it could be that when it was all said and done, he wasn't that into it. But then at the same time, why in the hell would you leave signatures if you weren't into it? Like, it seems like you would kill and go, oh, God, this sucks. And you would get the hell out of there, and you'd feel like kind of a little bit of remorse, slightly like, what the hell, what did I do? What did I do? But when you're leaving signatures, that means you had a good time, right? Like, you think it's fun.
And I think in a strange way, the actual video, the video footage and the voice has stopped him from doing the same thing again, because I think if he would have done this and there would have been no video and no voice and left a signature and what have you, he would be like we said previously, he would be completely unknown.
Yeah, he switched it up a little bit. Now he says, he switched it up. The next one he said, hey, gals, up the hill. And he thought that was enough to trick people. I'm just joking.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, go ahead.
Okay. I just think it sort of stopped him anyway, and he's had to lay low for so long. Anyway, it's lovely to talk to you. I'll keep watching the show, and hey, freaks.
No, hey, freaks.
Good to see them all. Good to see them all pumping the comments away there.
Well, it's always good to have you call, Robin. Robin, you always have good insight, good thoughts.
Yeah, and keep up the great work, mate. Talk soon.
Well, thanks. Have a good one. See you later. Thanks.
See you. Great. Bye.
Bye-bye. Good eye, mate. I got 9,000. I know that sucked. I didn't say that right. Not the right accent. I know. Yeah, we've talked about all those before. Blink, calm, love. Yeah. Yeah, really. That is really what I said, Cat Jones. I was saying he switched it up a little bit and said, hey, gals, up the hill. Yeah, that is what I said. Okay? It was a joke. All right? Don't do your fake outrage to try to make everybody think that you're this really important person that just has this moral, you're just so much more morally superior than everybody else. All right? Nobody thinks that. No, they're just looking at you just going, oh, jeez. Here's one of those Karens out there. Yeah, all right. I don't know about that. I think they were just in that corner and they... Yeah, listen, hey, Cat Jones, you're a fake moral superiority person. So I'm going to have to put you on timeout, see if you can come back and be a better person the next time. Yeah, it made sense to the people that were paying attention, but you're just one of those people just waiting and waiting and waiting for somebody to say something that you just can't agree with so you can do your fake moral superior bullshit. You're probably the same person that wonders why they were allowed to walk that day, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Just ridiculous. What evidence shows that Libby was more of a target? Well, there's no evidence that the police have released, but there wasn't a photograph released that Becky, it's out there in the public. She said it was authentic, where Libby had to have a scarf on her neck at the funeral, and Abby didn't. And then there's other information regarding, they found Libby's clothing out there, not Abby's. She still had it on. So just kind of do some deduction from there. Thanks, Hope and Brianna. Yeah, we don't do moral superiority police here, okay? Whenever those people show up, they don't last long. And then they here's what they do. As soon as you call them out on their bullshit, they take off to a Facebook page and go, he's so mean. Gosh, Gray is so mean. He was so rude to me. Well, what did you say, though? Oh, well, I did some fake moral superiority bullshit. Oh, I get it. Okay. I'm not saying it was the greatest joke in the world, but I was just trying to... He said that the person may have switched up their... how they did it. And I said, yeah, well, he just changed the phrasing because he's that stupid. So it was really kind of a diss on the guy, but she didn't get it because, thank God hopefully the kids that are being taught by her are learning better than her brain worked when she said that. Let's see. How was the special? Special, I thought it was pretty good. I'm not going to totally diss on it. It's just, how they always make him a little sensationalistic like that. Yeah, the Evansdale case is similar. And they have talked to the individuals over there. I've covered the Evansdale case of Lyric and Elizabeth multiple times. It's weird when people say, hey, Gray, have you heard of this case? And I'm like, yeah, I've covered it multiple times. And then you realize that they're not one of the people that ever watched your channel at all. Yeah, I know. That's kind of strange, right? They couldn't find any evidence of it, apparently. Maybe it was just... It could have been where he just got to the point where he was going to sexually assault, and then there was people up on the bridge, and he just said, I got to get out of this, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of skeptical of that too, Brendy85. I think the same thing. And there's literally, if an hour show, there's probably 20 minutes of content. There's 40 minutes of commercials. And that's why they did it, really, because there's so many people interested in the case that they knew it would, sell out. Yeah, maybe he does. Yeah, they had really good drone footage. Kim F sharp harp. Okay, you got to put that F sharp back in there. I used to like saying that. Yeah, they had really good aerial photograph or footage of it, and I kind of wish I could have screen grabbed it and kind of analyzed it a little bit more, but it's not really going to help that much. I'm just reading comment. Yeah, I haven't heard that they've cleared Garrett Kurtz. I haven't heard any of that. I just don't really think about him that much. Like, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, Holly, about that at all. When you said, no joking. I didn't say people can't joke around about something. I don't, joking around, I don't know. Maybe I didn't need to say the joke, but to me it wasn't offensive. It shouldn't have been offensive to anybody with a brain, because I explained that, yeah, he's kind of dumb, so he barely changed it up at all. He just changed the wording slightly. Should have made sense to people. But apparently, even teachers don't understand. Let's see. Yeah. It's weird how many people don't have HLN. That's strange, right? Yeah, you'd have a commercial and, the show, and then 8 minutes of commercials, then part of the show, and then 8 minutes. I guaranteed it was only about a half hour of content in 60 minutes. But other than that, I thought they put it together pretty well. Yeah, but what I said shouldn't have offended anybody unless you have a low IQ. That's the thing. Or you're intentionally trying to play the moral superiority police that we talked about earlier in the show. The same people who bitch and moan about, well, those are my kids. I never would have dropped them off there. And nobody cares, all right? Nobody gives a damn that you wouldn't have dropped them off there. And nor is it even relevant to anything that we're discussing. Okay, so the only reason you're saying is you want everybody to look at you like you are just some fantastic person who is beyond reproach when it comes to being a parent. I mean, you are unbelievably good. And how dare us at all even compare ourselves? If we even have one good story about our parent, by God, you're going to beat it 10 times over because you are awesome. Yeah. So was it helpful for you guys to see this? What I was showing you guys earlier. So this is, the image is very small and it was cropped out, and that's why, if you look at that, look how blurry her face is. You zoom in on that face, you can't tell who that is. You can't tell who it is. Now, you might be able to tell because she has her hair down and somebody knows her. Oh, I know who that is. But this guy has a jacket on, a hat on, and a hoodie, maybe, all this stuff going on. And it's hard to make out his face. He's got a shadow. And look at, even on her, there's a shadow. But he had a hat on that made the shadow darker. Or something that stuck out a little bit. We don't really know exactly what it was. I think that's amazing to me that we can't really tell easily what he's got on his head. I mean, it's like, wow, how come that's just not simple to see? Oh no, Gray, I can see it. It's a beer cup with a design. Listen, no, you can't tell any better than anybody else. I've seen what people try to draw, and it's just ludicrous. They just make their idea fit into the image. Yeah. Yeah, you can't. You gotta, Holly. Sometimes you just gotta deal with what's going on. You can't. If you sit there and bash moderators, it's not going to work out well for you. So that's just kind of how it works, you know. All right. Yeah. See, on this channel, we do laugh every once in a while, but it's not at the crime itself. You understand that? It's not like we're laughing at the crime. And if you're one of those people that just, you want to be the moral superiority police, you're going to last 5 seconds in here. It's not going to work. Not the same. Yeah, I don't manipulate anything on the images. I'm just showing you exactly what we're looking at here. It's right there. Now, what you're looking at on the map is right like this at the end. They walked all the way down the trail, came across the bridge, and that's the camera. Really crappy model of the bridge on Google Earth, but this is where Libby is standing, and the suspect is just past the platform walking this direction. All right, so that's what you're looking at, and Libby's right next to the platform, and Abby's standing right behind her when he gets there. But before he gets there, Abby's probably, around in this area. She's just very slow, and he's probably pretty quick going across. I'm not saying you bash the moderators, Holly, but you just gotta calm down a little bit. That's all I'm saying. See, like, even your reply right there, we're just moving on to something else now. And there's Jay Case. He's on the case. He's base. He doesn't wear lace. Yeah, that's exactly right, Andrea. See, what you have is these people that just don't like me, and they show up and they pretend they're just a casual observer, and they throw out comments and want everybody to go, yeah, wow. But, it doesn't work, okay, because people have seen what I've been putting in there. I didn't feel like it was anything. I just said, oh, yeah, I'll even say it again. Robin was saying that, he probably, now he's probably going to change what he says because he was scared hearing his voice. And I said, yeah, maybe now he's going to say, hey, gals, up the hill. I think that's kind of funny. It's funny, like, what an idiot. He didn't really change it. He left his voice the same, and all he did was change it from guys to gals and up instead of down, okay? That's it. Now, if that's that offensive to you, man, you should just get the hell out of society in general. Okay, hey, Daddy, I'll tell you what. How about this? How about you stop watching and go watch another channel, all right? There you go. You're gone. Good luck, buddy. Go find another one. I've talked about the case for 3 hours now. Now I'm just talking about whatever the hell I want to talk about. God, what an idiot. Jesus. So many dumb people that just show up and want to put their little bashes in, and it just isn't going to work. No, this is how it shows up every night, though. I get trolls on my channel. Every time I do Delphi, tonight was pretty good, though, with the callers. I'll say that. It was pretty good. But, you got the idiots like Daddy up there, and, Here, let's see. Do you apologize, Daddy, for your rude comment? I've been doing the show for 3 hours. Did you not pay attention for the first three? Did you just get here at the last minute and think this is all I was talking about? Yeah, you're a little too obsessed there, Zozo, with one particular caller. It's pretty weird. Some of your comments you made. I had to delete one of them. It was just... let's see. Yeah, you probably didn't watch the first 3 hours. Yeah, I started the show at 7:30. Why don't you hit the notification bell, evil Q-tip? You ever thought of doing that? Yeah, it would work. Just hit the notification bell and the thing that says all videos. I'm not going to send you one specifically. Okay, we were late to talk about the case. Okay, next time send me a notification because I missed it, and this is super interesting in finding that killer. Yeah, that's great, but I'm not going to send you one. You have to actually hit the notification bell and all videos. I'm not going to say, hey, where's that one guy, Evil Q-Tip? Let me go ahead and send him a link. It's not going to happen. I will send one to Jay, though. He's been around a while. I'll send him one. Yeah. I don't think so, Madga, but hey, good luck with you, all right? I'm just goofing around with you. Thanks for allowing me the content for the joke, Evil Q-Tip. Yeah. It is interesting. You should go back and listen to the first 3 hours of it. The second show, we didn't talk about as much as the 2:30 non-ping that we learned about. It wasn't really a ping at 2:30. It was him being notified that there was a ping at 2:30 himself, that he then said, hey, you might want to check there. We saw some ping data that showed that the phone was under there. I have to go look at it to make sure, but I bet you anything that is what it said. No. But tomorrow I'll probably be covering something, just a regular cases again. And then I might get on, I'm trying to get, I want Colleen to come on with Kelsey. I think that'd be an interesting conversation. And literally have her maybe talk about the Delphi case and the limitations there might be. Yep. Some are pretty good. That's right. I guess so. No, we don't do paranormal. That's right, Layla, my Layla. You sent me the picture, right? That I've got on the back of my screen. On this one. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll make myself smaller and then you can see it. No, that was Dana Dane. Never mind. My brain just went. I just completely was like, wait a minute. No, that's Dana Dane. Yeah, I knew that you guys had different voices too, so that was weird. Good. I'm glad I figured it out on my own. I haven't seen Dana Dane in a while. Where the hell is Dana Dane? Yeah, we don't do psychics here. Yeah, I don't. Listen, I don't even care if some of you believe in them. I think psychics are an embarrassment to anything related to true crime. I know cops have used them here and there, but man, they are just sick people. All right. What they do is they're just like anybody else. They're like people like us who go in and they look at cases. and you use intuition and you figure things out that seem reasonable. Then you pretend that you gleaned it from some psychic power out there. Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah, no, there wasn't any out there. Oh my God, somebody just said, what was that? Psychic detectives? Psychic detectives and police work together on cases and have solved cases and brought home no, okay. I'm sure that they got involved and they got lucky that something led to somewhere near somewhere. They don't work, okay? Do not believe psychics. Even if you're at your last wit's end, do not hire a psychic to do a damn thing, all right? It's embarrassing. Well, good. If we agree on that, Daddy and his princess, then we probably agree on a lot more. Okay? But I just did a 3-hour show, so if I want to talk about something else, I'm going to get to do it, and somebody like you isn't going to tell me to get back to a case. Do you think listen, if you say this, hey, Gray, we don't want to hear you talk about this. Get back to the case. I'm going to go, oh, okay, yeah, okay, let's get back to the case. Yeah. There isn't a soul in the world that would do that. So for you to do that, it's just you being an asshole. That's why you're saying it that way. Okay? So try to be a little bit more respectful. I did a 3-hour show, and then I just had about 5 or 10 minutes talking about something else. All right? Yeah, so there was nothing about what you did that you were trying to be helpful or insightful and anything like that. It was just you wanting to make a show and draw attention to yourself. Yeah. Yeah. But, yep, we agree on psychics. They're an absolute embarrassment. And, everyone has the right to believe in psychics. I don't. And I think we go through all these cases, cold cases over and over again. And I haven't found one where they seemed interesting. They've always ruined. One of them even attacked one of their clients, punched him in the face. Okay? You guys remember that one, right? Yeah, I believe in Bigfoot, but not psychics. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Bigfoot's, he's all kind of real. Oh, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for showing up tonight. I could tell it all died down because we're not talking about Delphi anymore. Yeah, I think UFO. I believe in UFOs. That's not the same thing, though. That's just using math. Like, you think in the entire universe, there isn't somebody... Like, if the dinosaurs never existed and maybe mammals were first, there would have been humans 60 million years ago. And then 60 million years of evolution. Man, you'd have some hell of science at that point, right? Yeah. But I don't have any proof. I just say I believe that there is a good possibility that there is very intelligent life on other planets. As a matter of fact, I think it's a certainty. The psychics are just bloodsuckers. You know, they see a case going on and they think, God, here's a good way to suck some money out of a grieving victim. Let me see if I can pretend that I can... Hey, I see it. They're next to some water. There's a tree around. Yeah, hey, good guess. Yeah, there's lots of water out there. I don't know. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to get off of here. I appreciate everybody showing up tonight. That's right, Claudia Neubauer. That's exactly right. But if you're somebody that believes in them, it's okay. I just, I don't respect the belief in psychics, right? I know that some have worked with law enforcement. You sort of wonder how that happened. I always like the one I like this one. There's this one case of a Jane Doe, of a girl who's had I think her head was cut off, so they don't know who she was, but they had her clothing, and it had blood on it and stuff, and man, it was great evidence. And the police officer said, you know what, the best thing we can do is send this sucker to a psychic. Yeah, I think it was St. Louis. So then they sent the dress off to a psychic, and by God, they never saw that dress again. Isn't that the dumbest thing? In 10 days, they send the damn dress to a psychic. Well, that just means that they have a lot of faith in them. They do good work, or else they wouldn't have sent it on. Yep. Yeah. Remember that guy called in? It was in the one case out of Utah, the girl that was supposed to meet somebody at a park, and then he took her to her place and killed her. The guy said, yeah, it's going to be at the end of a street. There's going to be a building there. And I go, dude, wow, everything you just said sounds so generic. And that's not what happened. She was found way up in the mountains in the woods. But it was near, within 20 miles of a building and a street. Give me some credit for that one. Yeah, these people, I tell you what. All right.
Son. Oh, wow. Gray, are you done with the show?
Well, he is done.
I asked Gray, not you.
Yes, I am done with the show.
Gray, you're so disrespectful. How dare you use other voices when talking about a legitimate subject?
Well, he's done with the show.
So what? I'm a moral superiority complex person.
Oh, boy. Yeah, but they found her body way up in the mountains. She got burned in the yard, and then he took her remains. They just found some flesh there, and he drove them way up into the. I can't remember what road it was. I could pull it up, but I don't feel like it. Yeah. Hey, but Bush and Beach Lifestyle, it doesn't work like that. Thanks, Brianna Props.
Thank you, Gray. Heart decoration. Heart decoration. Heart decoration. Nerd face. Nerd face. Respect for you and your work. Love the show. Profound heart.
Profound heart, everybody. That's right. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You see, the spirits don't allow you for self-gain.
Well, that's interesting. How can they get paid by the victims?
Yeah, very good point there, Mary Lou. Fantastic. So if they're getting paid by the victims, isn't that self-gain?
Well, yeah, that's why they're never right.
Oh, good point, Mary Lou. So it's really what it comes down to, it has to be a psychic that is absolutely, what do you call it? A psychic that is altruistic. And then they'll get the answer. Right? Yeah. Oh, brother. Good night. Okay, Laurel's heart. Good night. Oh, brother.
Thank you to Tia Reese, Courtney Robb, Claudia Neubauer, Lori Grant, Cairo, Iris Spirit Eyes, Stacey M, Claudia Neubauer, Mag, Pauline White, Lee D, Zozo, Matt Evans, Allie Cake, Timothy Cecil, Rita Schaffer, CC, Claudia Neubauer, Lanky Tor, Brown Almighty, Mag, Linda Howell, Don Spain, Zozo again, Claudia Neubauer, Milla 617, Wally Gator, Linda Howell, Sarah M, Sarita, Carolina T, Hope, Brianna Props, Layla my Layla, and Brianna Props again.
Hey, thanks, John Boy, for reading those off for me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you all for showing up tonight. I hope you found the show interesting. All right. Be kind to your crime victims out there. Don't pretend that you're more morally superiority, morally superior to them with your comments like, "Oh wow, why would they get dropped off at the bridge? I wouldn't do it. I'm so cool." Okay, nobody cares, right? So think about that. All right, everybody. Yeah, virtue signal. There you go. That's right. What J.K. says. Oh, and thank you, Holly. Boom. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, make sure that you guys, try to spread the reality.
Thanks for such a
out
great show. As always, I wish I caught more shows.
Yeah, cool. You should catch more. Yeah, just try to spread the reality out there, not the wild conspiracy stuff. Right? And then when everybody is on the same page, then you can start going out and see, that's where you get cool conversations like we had tonight with the callers. Because none of them are crazy, wild conspiracy theorists. It was a miracle night for that. Oh, that's right, Madga. You must watch one of that idiot creator that calls me that. Well, that'll be the last time you comment on the channel. See you later, Madga. What an idiot. All right, everybody, thank you very much. And make sure you wash your hands, maintain your social distancing, and wear a mask. All right? And I guess maybe even two at this point. All right, everybody, thank you very much. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And a 2 and a 3 and a... Where the hell is that? There it is. Uh-oh. It's going to kick in. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now.
Oh, yeah?
And during this whole time,
Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
One person.
Let me hear it.
That is a
crime dissector, the projector.
I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher.
Hey, Jay, thanks, man. I never know.
Crime sector
is my nectar. My friends agree is gonna give another lecture.
Crime collector, freak connector,
and I'm always gonna
be a pup protector, fool deflector, interceptor,
Paramino
and a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, ya, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
All right, man, that was a really interesting.
Get right back over.
Hello?
All right, everybody. Talk to you.
Don't talk over me, Gray.
Hey, I'll talk over you whenever the hell I want to. I was right in the middle of the rap.
Okay, but I was trying to say something myself.
I don't care if you were trying to say something yourself. I was still doing the rap.
Okay, gosh, Gray, you're so mean, but it was a really cool show, and it was really neat colors. I didn't like the virtual signaling. I didn't like the people that think they're morally superior to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Mary Lou.
What about the troll callers, Gray? Did you get any troll callers?
Well, you were there listening to the show, right?
Well, I thought I was listening to it. I thought I heard a couple troll callers.
No, I didn't have any troll calls tonight. God, Mary Lou. Jesus. All right. Thank you guys all for watching.
Hey, I didn't get to say goodnight. Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Mary Lou.
Gosh, you're so mean.
Hey, did anybody believe that cry by Mary Lou at the end there? Because I sure as hell didn't. Not even close.
I sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't eat it. I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it. It's not a treat. The troll is beat. Just one of the ways that I defeat it. Staying in my groove. When there's a troll on the move, just takes a second to remove. Cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, lizard eye. I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you're so fly when you're such a whiny cry? Battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to mummify. Time to say goodbye.
Hey, that's pretty good, Mary Lou. That's pretty good.
Oh, hey, thanks. Hey, you wanna try it? You wanna try it, John Boy?
Me? Oh, okay, I can try it. Let me try. The guy's on the move. Let's see, he's in the mood.
Man, you suck, John Boy. You suck at it.
Well, let me try it again. When I'm in the mood, I sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't eat it.
I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it.
It's not a treat.
The troll is beat.
Just one of the ways that I defeat it.
Staying in my groove.
When there's a troll on the move,
just takes a second to remove.
Cause every time I conclude,
the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, lizard eye. I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you so fly?
When you're such a whiny cry, battle me, you're gonna fly.
Gonna send you out to mummify.
Time to say goodbye.
Hey, okay, that wasn't too bad, John Boy, but there's something a little off about you. A little something off.
Gosh, you're so mean, Mary Lou. You're so mean.
Hello? Anybody there? Anybody who's talking this shit, that shit.
Did you say shit?
I sure did. Here's a little story that I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well. Started way back in history with that rock MCA and me, Mike D. But had a little horse, his name was Paul Revere. Me and my horse and a quart of beer. Riding across the land, picking up sand. Sheriff parties on my tail cause I'm in demand. One lonely beastie I be. All about myself without nobody. The sun was beating down on my baseball hat. The air was getting hot, the beer was getting flat. Looking for a girl, I ran into a guy. His name was MCA. I said howdy, he said hi.
He told a little story that sounded well rehearsed. 4 days in I running and he's dying of thirst. The boot was in my hand and he was on my hip. His voice was right, he asked me for a sip.
You say can I get some?
I said you can't get none. He had a chance to run. He pulled out a shotgun. Quick along the troll, I thought he'd be dead. He put the gun to my head and this is what he said.
Name is MCA, I got a license to kill. I hope you know what time it is, it's time to get ill. Now what do we have here? An outlaw in his beer? I'm on this land, you understand, Derrick was up clear. Told a little story that sounded well rehearsed. 4 days on the run and that he's dying of thirst. The brew was in my hand and he was on my tip. His horse is always right. He asked me for a sip. He said, "Can I get some?" I said, "You can get none." He had a drink to run. He pulled a gun. Quick on the draw. I thought I'd be dead. He put the gun to my head and this is what he said. "My name is FCA. I got a license to kill. I hope you know what time it is. It's time to get real. Now what do we have here? An outlaw and his beer. I understand. You understand. I'll make myself clear." You got two choices of what you can do. It's not a tough decision as you can see. I can blow you away or you can ride with me. I'll settle ride with you if you get me to the border. But she was up to me for what I did to his daughter. Did it like this, I did it like that. I did it with a wiffle ball bat. So I'm on the run, copped out my gun. Right about now it's on the house of fun. The king had wrong, that is my name. And I know the fly spot where they got the champagne. So we rode for 6 hours and we hit the spot. Dude was bumping and the girl was hot. The dude was staring like he knows who we are. We took the empty spot next to him at the bar. Yippee-yo, you know this kid? I said I did, but I know he did. Kid said get ready, 'cause this ain't funny. My name's Mike D and I'm about to get money. Pulled out the jammy, aimed at the sky, and let two fly. Heads went rubbing, people hit the floor. Wasted 2 kids that ran for the door. I'm Mike D and I get respect. The cash in your jewelry is what I expect. Them kid was with it, and he's my ace, so I grabbed a piano player and I punched him in the face. Piano player's out, music stopped. Boy had 8 and he got dropped. Mike D grabbed the money, MCA grabbed the gold. Grabbed 2 gorillas and a beer that's cold.
Wow, that's pretty good, Mary Lou.
Well, thanks, John boy. Glitterate and listen. That's a backwoods brand new invention. Something rather holding me tightly. Flows like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, right off the mic like a vandal. Right up the stage, I'm up the trump like a candle. Dance. Cause the speakers up boom, killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly. When I play a dope melody, anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it, you better game way. Better hit bullseye, the kid don't play. So if there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook on my DJ revolve it. Thank you, 'cause I'm a lyrical poet. My name is on the scene just in case you didn't know it. My town, practically on the bass sound. I'm gonna shake get holes in the ground, 'cause my style's like a chemical steel. Piecing around you and vision and feel. Conducted and form, which is a hell of a concept. You make a hype, then you want us to print this. Shape ladies in the face, slice like a ninja, cut like a razor blade so fast. Or did you just say, damn, if I rhyme to a drug, I'd sell up by the gram. I keep my composure when it's time to kick loose. Magnetized by the mic while I kick my juice. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook on my DJ revolves it. The rack top down so my hair can blow. The girl is on standby, waiting just to say hi. Did she stop? No, just drove on, kept on. The signal to the next block. I bought the left, I'm headed to the next block. The buckle said, y'all, so continue to A1A. Detroit Avenue, girls were hot, wearing less than bikinis. Rockman lover, driving Lamborghinis, jealous. 'Cause I'm out getting mine. Shade was a gauge and the other was a 9. Gunshot ranged out like a bell. I grabbed a 9 out of her wood shells falling on the concrete real fast. Jumped in my car, slammed on the gas. Bumper to bumper, avenues packed. Time to get away from the Jackers Jack. Police wanna see, you know what I mean? It wasn't up in front of a dope fiend. Said there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook on my DJ revolves it.
Yeah, that was pretty good, Mary Lou.
forests of the Pacific Northwest, I bid you all good evening, or good morning as the case may be.
Wait, but isn't the show over?
Oh yeah, good night as the case may be. That's right, Art Bell.
This is PIR.
This is PIR, Portland International Raceway, with the biggest thing since the Pinewood Drag. We have Rod Laber, a retired astronaut with his hydroelectric car. It's guaranteed to rip up the road right in front of your face. We also have Jim Hansen with his Beavermobile, the only car that'll knock down trees at 200 miles an hour. Trials from 6 and 7 be there. Oh, and don't miss out on Zozo in her lean-to. What do you mean lean-to? What the? In her go-kart. Oh, that's what I meant to say. That's right, the Beavermobile. The only car that'll knock down trees at 200 miles an hour. I think she's already asleep. Anyway, that's it, everybody. You know, a little lighthearted stuff at the end of the show there after all that dark stuff. But I thought it was an interesting show. Thank you guys all for participating. Yeah, I sort of feel like, you know, I don't know. Aren't you guys sort of feeling like there's something coming here? That's what I'm feeling. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much, and we will see you guys tomorrow. What tomorrow has to offer, I don't know, but by God, it's going to be something interesting. All right, everybody. Thank you very much, and be safe out there.